Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Tanner. Hello, Ben, and happy anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary, mate. You're too kind, aren't you? We'll get into that in a second. But today we're joined by a very, very special guest. Kat Hughes is a horror enthusiast, film lover, and reviewer with tons and tons of film reviewing credentials under her belt. Rotten Tomatoes approved, I believe, and numerous podcasts. Welcome to the show, Kat. Hello.
Hello, nice to be here. Obviously, we briefly crossed paths at Fright Fest, but it's nice to be on the pod properly.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a long time coming. So thank you so much for joining us. How exciting. And we're covering a new release as well. Although slightly after Valentine's Day, I think we were kind of screwed over a little bit in this country. We got this film a week later than everybody else, didn't we? So there we go.
We got it on Valentine's Day
I suppose that's all
itself,
right,
right?
actually.
Although we did get, if you were there some secret screenings beforehand? Did they do some screen and scenes?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the Odeon in Cineworld. It was like the Saturday night.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they're doing the monkey this week. I think that's the rumor I've heard anyway. Or when you see the clues and you go, I'm pretty sure that's that. It can't be anything else. Um, so yeah, people seeing that first as well. You've seen the monkey as well, haven't you, Kat?
I have, yes, yes. I
Oh
was
wow.
invited to an early screening. It is very tonally different to Longlegs. Gone are the slow burn dread, and
Oh
it's replaced with lots of gore and goop and silliness, which is kind of a nice way to kick off the year.
yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. So we're covering that next week. Super looking forward to that. I've tried to I have read the short story a long time ago, but I've tried to avoid trailers and that, but it does look like tonally very, very different, doesn't it? Elijah Wood is in it as well, is that right?
Yeah, he's got a part in it, and then it's Theo James is the main character, and
Yeah.
there's the guy from Halloween Ends. The replacement
Oh,
Michael, whatever his name is,
replacement
it Corey
Michael Myers,
something.
Oh, Michael Jr.
He
Mickey
that's yeah
Jr.
he is in it, and he has stolen Claudia Winkleman's fringe, and for some reason looks like Caleb Landry Jones, but it's definitely the guy from Halloween Ends. So yeah, it's quite an interesting little cast.
Wow, yeah. I
I'm
mean, it
looking
seems
forward to
really
that.
cool. Stolen Claudia Winkleman's fringe. What about the smoky eye? Have they stolen her smoky eye makeup as well? Fingerless
I
gloves.
mean, the bangs are so heavy you can't see any
Oh,
eye
right,
makeup.
like that.
So
Oh my God. I mean, I was excited to watch it now, but even more so than
Yeah,
that. Um,
anticipation has just ramped up by a few more percent.
at least 5%. And yeah, covering a new film today, covering a new romantic comedy slasher, which is three words that you wouldn't necessarily put together. But yeah, it works well. I know we're going to get into it, but I think we're all pretty happy with how this has turned out, right?
Very pleased,
Very, very
delighted.
yeah.
pleased. Exactly. And Kat, you did manage to speak to the director, Josh Ruben, just recently as well. How was that?
Josh is lovely. We had a little chat about, so without any spoilers for people that haven't seen it. So we were just talking about kind of like the history of Valentine horror, because there's a lot at Christmas, there's a lot at Halloween, there's not really too many at Valentine's Day. And he used a lot of big words in the interview, I'm not gonna lie. Like
Did he?
bi bifunctional or something. It basically means like to branch off. My husband's into physics, and it's like, we use it all the time in physics, and I was like, that's nice. I've never encountered this word, because he was basically saying that he has like opposing opinions on romance. Like he loves like being married and he loves being in a couple, but he's not a PDA sort of person. So
Yeah.
it was quite, he very much enjoyed being able to like cut apart the
Yeah.
romantic comedy. But yeah, and his cat turned up, which was nice because normally
Oh.
it's my cat turning up. So it was nice that it was somebody else's. But yeah, he's a thoroughly lovely guy who just loves the genre and loves, obviously, I mean, he's an actor, writer, director, and he just loves everything about the genre. So it's
Mm.
nice to see him getting to do something a bit bigger.
Yeah, a bit bigger, but like in terms of like the hits he's had so far, I mean, by hits I mean ones that have hit home, the films that have been really popular and critically acclaimed as well. So like, well, Werewolves Within and then Scare Me, which I've not actually seen, but Andy, you've always got great things
Yeah,
to say about.
yeah. I thought Scare Me was a really fun, imaginatively written, like it's very quirky, it's very different, and I don't want to, we spoil enough when we deep dive on these things. I don't want to spoil it without a pre-warning, without having the opportunity to discuss it in detail. But it's a different method of telling the story that I like. The meta narrative that goes between the interaction with these two characters. It's very well self-contained, um, but it's a lot of fun. I found it very interesting, a good watch.
I feel like so many writers in these sort of horror films try that meta narrative, try to sort of emulate, I guess, what was made popular with Scream and Kevin Williamson. I feel like this works, and this is probably the first time like where I feel like it's really worked because there are tons of these, I guess, kind of like slashers with a twist, you would say, wouldn't you? Where it's kind of supposed to be a bit funny, and it does work to a degree, but I feel like for genuine laughs, I feel like Josh Ruben is a great pair of hands for a film like this to be in. I guess films I'm sort of talking about are things like Happy Death Day,
Yeah.
Totally Killer, things like that, where yeah, they are enjoyable to a degree. But I feel like they are missing a certain something, and I feel like that is the genuine laugh out loud moments as well.
Yeah, I think you maybe play a knife edge. I'm quite a sucker for this type of movie in the first place. I've been a big fan of some of these. And you named them like Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. I liked like probably more than I expected to. I was genuinely
Mm.
delighted by it all the way through. This one, spoilers for my opinion, I also thought was really good. It was a lot of
Mm.
fun. I think sometimes with the genre, you have to be good at doing the comedy because if the comedy falls short, then it can really give you the worst of both worlds, right? If you're not finding it as funny as you might, and the scares have been toned down as a result, maybe you're like you're disappointing two crowds. But I think when they're executed well, um, they are truly delightful, and it's one of those rare horror films that I can get my wife on board with to come and
There's a
watch,
bit
and
of
she will
romance in
also
it.
enjoy
There's a
them.
bit of romance in it. It's a lovely kissy
Not romance,
kissy.
things that are just funny, like
Oh,
things that are a bit
right,
funny.
okay.
And I think like if
I was
something
gonna
is,
say.
she doesn't mind things that are scary, but if something is too gratuitously violent, she'll be like, "Ugh, no, I'm not a fan of this. Like, why would I watch it? I'm not enjoying it."
Yeah.
But you can mix up. She was a big fan of Freaky. She really enjoyed, which again, similar kind of
Oh
tone,
yeah, I mean
right?
that's a good example actually. I do like Freaky. What kind of Valentine's horrors did you and Josh discuss, Kat, when you said you mentioned that?
I mean, we sort of spoke about I guess the main ones that people think of, My Bloody Valentine and
Mm.
Valentine.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily a huge amount else, outside of that is front and center in people's minds. Whereas, like
Mm.
say, Christmas horror or Halloween horror, people can name loads, but if
Yeah.
it was pointless, they're the only two that are going to get any answers.
Yeah.
So it's quite it's but it, so I used to work in the cinema, and horror does better in February than it does in October, because in October everyone has Halloween plans, they're going to parties, they're going to
Mm.
scare attractions. Whereas February you have Valentine's Day and people are looking for a date movie. They like going and being scared and
Yeah.
needing that excuse to kind of like snuggle up to the person next to
Mhm.
them. So horror always does well in February. So it's just strange that there aren't more Valentine's focused ones, because this does have that ability to
Mm.
transcend the fandoms. There's so much in this film for fans of romantic comedies, and there's so much in this film for fans of horror. So it's kind of that thing where if you're in a relationship with somebody that's not particularly into horror, when it comes to picking a film to see at the cinema, it's inevitably like, oh, well, we'll go and see your film this time and then my film next time or whatever. This, I feel, is the one that everybody can just go, no, let's go and see this. It's got some comedy, it's got some romance, it's got some blood and guts. It's the film for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like really they don't pull back in the violence and the scares. I think they really go hard with some of the slasher antics, but then sexy people having some romantic misunderstandings and having a big old kiss. Excellent for everybody.
Sexy people. Can we talk about the Heart Eyes Killer's look as well? Because what is it? Because it's kind of like he looks like almost like a vampire hunter. He's like in leather. He's got like straps and different things, and a variety of weapons, like personalized weapons as well. Just with little hearts on them as well. It's kind of, I don't know. It almost feels like it's being framed as this guy hates romance and romantic couples, but I'm like, it looks like he loves it. He loves it. If anything,
Same as
everything's
Batman
got.
being scared of Batsman. He's embraced the symbol that he
That's what it
feared the
is.
most.
That's exactly what it is. One thing I was disappointed about, feel like the heart eyes should be lit up at all times. I feel like that
Mm.
should be a thing. Those heart eyes appearing in the gloom would have been very, but of
Was
course
it a
they're
special night
transitioning.
vision mode, didn't he? Slightly like for anyone who has seen nothing about this, but is susceptible to a very narrow point of reference. Imagine Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear with a heart-shaped eyes in his mask.
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah,
pretty much. Um, and it's all done in the name of kink. But we will of course get into that. And pick it apart now that we know what the reveal and the ending is as well. Um, before we kick off though, there's something that we've been trying to do for the last few weeks. I think we maybe haven't done it every week, Andy. But in order for us to get to know our guests a little bit better, we ask our guests to put together a um, Mount Rushmore of their horror favorites. So essentially, like your letterbox top four for horror. But without putting you on the spot, Kat, could you let us know your four so we can kind of just get understand you as a horror fan a little bit? Tough question.
Okay, so Hellraiser is on there mainly because my mum raised me on horror, but the only film she would never let me watch is Hellraiser. So it was like the
Wow.
only thing that was forbidden because the Chatterer terrified her. Um, to the point of she went to the cinema to see Hellraiser 2, and I would have been about three, maybe. And she, like, the sitter went, and then she came into my room, woke me up, made me walk into her room, wait for her to get ready, get into bed, and then I had to turn her light off for her, and then walk back to my
Fantastic.
bedroom and put myself to bed. So yeah. It's just that whole thing of it being like, what's this film?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Hellraiser's on there. I grew up in the sort of the late 90s, early 2000s when we had all of the screams and things. But I think I always was drawn more to I Know What You Did Last Summer. I
Mm.
think it's scarier. Just the whole thing where Sarah Michelle Gellar's character wakes up and her hair's been cut. Obviously, it's not like she's been murdered or anything, but it's just that whole thought that somebody could come into your
Yeah.
room and do something like that, and you wouldn't notice until you got up
Mm.
the next day. So that's one. Insidious is a recent one that is if it's on the telly, I'm watching it.
Mm.
There's no two ways about it. I think when we moved house, it was on TV that night, so it was like literally the first film we watched. And
Oh wow.
then becoming a parent, like there's just every time I watch it, there's something new to pick up in it that's horribly like accurate. There's the whole baby monitor where she's
Yeah.
playing the piano and then you hear the thing on the baby monitor. I was terrified of a baby monitor. Uh, when my daughter was young, I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want that. I don't need that in the house. Um, and I guess a fourth one. I mean, I guess you can say the Alien series is horror. So, um, I guess.
they carve a
Although I'm
lovely
more of an
silhouette when you put
Aliens.
them on a mountain as well. Those four faces.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely
So yeah,
iconic.
that's probably them, yeah.
Which alien did you
But
say?
I would watch anything. I mean, I'm more Aliens, which is obviously less horror and more like sci-fi action. But
Yeah.
Xenomorph is a great
Yeah.
villain. Although it's not really the villain. It's Burke's the villain.
Capitalism.
Bloody hell,
Yes.
Burke. Sort it out, will you? Evil. Evil Burke. What a Burke. So obviously you've got a few podcasts that are currently ongoing as well to your name, with various different and differing subject matters as well. So obviously you mentioned a brand new podcast, interview with with the vampire. It is the vampire, isn't it?
Yes.
I always say that out loud, and
That's
then
the
I go,
subject of
"That
episode 1, Ben.
that
If you
is
can listen.
wrong." So yeah,
Yeah.
it's about the TV show, isn't it? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so they've been launched in the last couple of weeks. It's called Savage Garden. It is not it's not a fan podcast about the 90s duo from Australia. It is a deep dive into the Interview the Vampire TV series, where me and my co-host Naomi are gonna rewatch episode by episode. She is a font of knowledge. She's done a lot of research into it. So we go very deep into it. I'm looking forward to hopefully at some point convincing her to watch Queen of the Damned because she's never experienced
She's
that.
never seen Queen of the Damned. Oh my God.
No, and I don't think it's going to go well, but I'm quite looking forward to showing that to her. And then yeah, I have a All of Us Are Lost, which is a Lost rewatch podcast because it's apparently been 20 years since Lost aired.
Wow.
And me and my co-host Andy, we both always wanted to rewatch it for like a number of years, and this just felt like the right
Mm.
time to dig into it. And just the way that memory just plays tricks is insane because there's things that I thought happened at the, so we're still in series one, there's things that I thought that happened at the end of series one that are literally in the second episode. And I was like, oh,
Oh
okay.
wow.
So
Okay.
this is going to be interesting. And then the podcast that kicked it all off was my then 4-year-old coming up to me and saying, "Can we do a podcast?" I thought she'd get bored. 2 years later, uh, we are continuing to do. It was bi-weekly, and now it's weekly episodes of Movies with Mummy,
Oh
which is
wow.
a micro. Yeah, it's a micro podcast of chaos where she picks a kids' film or TV show that she's into. She brings her toys on. She interviews them.
Oh,
She does all
bless
the
her.
voices. I inevitably just disassociate and start talking to them as if they're real.
Yeah.
Um, but it's fun and people seem to enjoy it. I kind of figured the audience would be my mum, but more than her listen to it.
So
She's bagged some big interviews as well.
she has.
She got the guy who voices Bluey's dad. Bluey is like this
God.
big phenomena. The
Yeah.
BBC were like, the BBC were like, would she like to interview Bluey's dad? And it's like, I would like to interview Bluey's dad, but no, sure, BBC, reach out to my
Amazing.
child and get her to submit questions. So yeah, and then she's interviewed a couple of CBeebies presenters for a couple of things. The director of The Inventor, she sent some questions on to, and she's currently campaigning to get somewhere close to the Minecraft people because she's a Minecraft kid.
Oh, I see.
So when I see her on with Jack Black later this
Yeah,
year,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
Jason
Jason
Momoa sat either
Momoa.
side of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my mum is in love with Jason Momoa, and I'm not sure that she would be able to handle the fact that her granddaughter would be interviewing him. I think she
If she
would like
gets it,
literally
your mum's
disown
gonna
her.
like usurp you and say, "Right, maybe it can be movies with Granny this week."
Yeah,
Just for one
exactly,
week.
exactly.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'd imagine on that one your daughter is your favorite regular co-host, but I'm interested with the toys and the different voices. Who has the hottest takes on the movies from all of the toys that come on?
Good question.
Um, she has a character called Dudley. So there's a TV show called Hey Dougie, and she has two Hey
Yeah.
Dougie figures, but one of them's dressed differently. So she's called one of them Dudley, which is Dougie's nephew in an episode of Dougie. And Dudley is basically just all of her sort of like cheekiness and whatever personified. So
Oh.
Dudley's the one that will say thumbs down
Oh.
to a film
Oh
or
no.
Oh, Dougley.
yeah,
And she can blame
yeah,
Dougley. I see.
yeah. And also Dudley's the one that'll get like he'll run off and then inevitably he'll be the one that brings up farting. Like she was going on the other day about being a hybrid or like if she could be an animal and it became like she would be we had Feathers McGraw on and she said that she would be a penguin so that she could fart all the time. So yeah, she uses them. But yeah, we had Feathers McGraw on, and he spoke. He's historically doesn't speak, but
Feathers
he
McGraw
speaks in
spoke.
movies with Mummy.
Feathers
An
McGraw's first
exclusive.
words.
I
Yeah.
mean, what with the
Ah,
Dougley thing? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty excited for the inevitable Jack Black, Jason Momoa, but surely all of this Hey Dougie content, Xander's gonna have to come on at some point, surely.
I mean, yeah, she would. Yeah, it's whether she could recognize him
This is
as
so he'd have to come in with like a
yeah,
filter on.
wow.
probably
We
yeah.
will we
But
will of
yeah,
course put all the links to all of those podcasts in the show notes. So if they sound like your thing, then go and check them out. If you're not into us talking about horror movies every week and you fancy a little bit of a break, a little bit of a palate cleanser, then any of those could do the trick. Very, very exciting. As you mentioned at the top of the show, Andy, as well. So it is our anniversary. We've recently turned 8 years old. So thank you for. We've had some nice messages today since we shared on social media. So thank you, everybody, for listening, for tuning in, for interacting with our socials and giving us more and more things to talk about. And of course, thanks to all of our guests over the years. Can't believe we made it to 8 years. It's one of those things, though, when I look back on it and see how much it's changed, I kind of cringe a little bit, but also kind of feel slightly proud because we've come a long way. It's been a great time, hasn't it, Andy? I know you haven't been around for all 8 years, but most of them, right?
Yeah, most I was first on as a guest in the first year. Like
There we
I
go.
was
Then that
in
counts.
in
Sorry,
August. So
didn't
yeah.
mean didn't mean to exclude you there, Andy.
So I have
But
been here for the whole 8 years, but just not every week back in the day.
people
Took an
always
entire global pandemic to get me here every week.
people always ask us like how we've kept it up. I guess for 8 years. Um, speaking for me, like I'm just that kind of person. I feel like if I start something, I have to see it through. And with something like a podcast, where the end point is is so far in the future, then it's just going to go on forever. I feel like until who knows what happens.
Yeah. People ask me how I keep going the same way I keep going in anything I do, spite. So I
Yeah, yeah,
keep
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely.
get up every morning and I think of all my enemies over the years and think I'm gonna show
Yeah,
you
I know.
this.
I know exactly what you mean. I do. Part of me is like, I hope someone out there is hated. Oh, he's still doing that bloody podcast, is he? Yes, I am, and I will
Yeah.
keep doing it until the day I die.
Listen, Mr. Jenkins, you never thought I was going to get through my A level geography. Not only did I'm doing a podcast and you can't do anything about it, mate.
People react to you having like 300, nearly 400 episodes of a podcast in completely different ways. They either go, 400 episodes, oh my God, wow. Or they go, 400 episodes, wow. Just like it's just either one of those things with like complete disdain or they're impressed. There's no middle ground.
Yeah. I never say anything, Ben. People who say wow in that second way. Never say anything. I smile politely and nod, but then I spend the next few minutes analysing everything about their lives to think of something that I think is pathetic about them.
Have you got
Oh.
nearly 400 of anything? Have you?
So what's that? Something in your teeth? Not going to mention it. See you later.
See you later. There we go. But yeah, thank you everybody. The end's not in sight. We're still enjoying it. We always say this. We say if we weren't enjoying it, it would be different. But we look forward to it every week. Well, I
Yeah,
do.
it's
Do you, Andy?
good reason to catch up with your friend and have a chat about a lovely movie. What else is there?
What else is there? There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. Um, so should we delve into like a little bit of horror news? I understand that was quite a long intro, so let's not divulge too much. What have we got? There was a new trailer for Until Dawn this week. I tried to avoid it. Then it was rude and put it in my eye, in front of my eyes in the cinema, which was I was disappointed in. I
This is a
guess
mistake you get for turning up on time for a film, Ben.
yeah, it is. I guess are they kind of going for? I mean, I know what the game is. I've played the game and I understand what the game is, but are they almost trying to lean a little bit into the cabin in the woods type thing with like multiple threats, multiple creatures? I know they're probably not going as extreme as Cabin in the Woods, but I don't know. Have you seen the trailer, Kat?
Not seen the new one
Yeah,
because unless it gets put in front of me in the cinema, I won't
yeah.
actively seek
I
out a
think it was
trailer.
the new one anyway.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think from what I read about it, it's doing sort of like the time loop thing, but every time they regenerate, it's something different. So it's kind
Mm,
of a little bit cabin in the woodsy, but it's also, I guess, a little like happy death day sort of thing where each time
yeah.
they wake up, I think they've kind of got memories. So they know, like, oh, well, we did that last time, which then led to this. So they're
Mm,
kind of trying to introduce the butterfly effect from the game. Because I mean, let's say that's
yeah.
good, unless you've got everybody sat in the cinema with some sort of like that Netflix Black Mirror episode where they can like choose
Mm,
which way to go. You can't replicate that aspect of the game.
no. Yeah, just do a poll every time. All right, everybody show your hand if you want them
Pause
to
the
do
film
this.
like a
Yeah.
ticking
Yeah.
clock.
Did you play the game as well, Kat?
I did. I played the
You did?
game three or four times because it doesn't
Yeah.
take too long to get through. I'm a lapsed gamer since having a child, so I quite like that this is a game that you can sort of get done in a couple of
Yeah.
nights. I haven't forgiven one of my cats for killing one of the characters. It was like one of the don't move bits, and
Oh
she
no.
decided at that point that she wanted to jump onto my lap and
Oh
then
God.
nudge the controller. So,
There's no going back,
um,
is there? We said this,
no,
Andy, the other week. Like it's like
Yeah.
immediately saved.
There
Ah.
should be a
yeah,
button
yeah,
on there should be a button on every controller setup that's like, I am an adult, don't waste my time. Like I want to do this again. Like I
yeah,
understand it's the artistic experience, but you know what? Let me pause Elden Ring. Let me go back and do that bit again. I regret my choices. I playing those Telltale Walking Dead games so often I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I've like the choice I made in terms of the description of the dialogue did not match what the character then said, and now I've made someone feel bad. So I need to reload my save
yeah.
because
I mean,
I've
this wasn't
upset a
even me
fictional
though.
man.
This was my
This
cat.
wasn't
This is,
even you.
so I definitely should have got a redo because that was the closest I came to saving everybody. I
Oh
think
God.
I only lost two people, and one of them was because of her. So I'm still, this was years ago, and I'm clearly still quite bitter about it.
You
But
give her one
I'm
less
interested,
biscuit
yeah.
One
every
less
Yeah,
every day
biscuit.
now.
exactly. But I'm interested to see the film because I do really like the game, and they've got Peter Stormare back from the game, so
Yes.
I'm intrigued to see
Yes, they do.
how
It's
they work
interesting.
him into it.
Yeah, whether they're gonna, yeah, because he's a weird sort of inclusion in the game, isn't he? Like, again, it's been quite a few years. I definitely didn't save everyone when I played it, but there is is there a remastered version I think that came out fairly recently that
There is
maybe,
like a year ago, I think.
yeah. So if I'm gonna revisit it, maybe I should. But to be fair, from the trailer, I feel like it's gonna translate pretty well to the screen. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out. Let me just remind myself, April 25th. So a couple of months. Directed by David F. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and Shazam.
Shazam of all things.
Shazam of all things, a weird trio. What else? We obviously discussed Wolf Creek recently on the show. Wolf Creek Legacy is coming to theaters in 2026, fall 2026. It's still a little way away, I guess. Um, but yeah, are you a fan of this franchise, Cat Wolf Creek?
I really like the first one. I think the first one's really good. The
Mm.
second one, Mick kind of loses me, and then I think
Yeah.
but it's a reverse with the TV series. Like I didn't really like the first series.
You've seen the
M
series as well.
m
I've not seen the series, so.
yeah, but Mick is my mum's like horror hero, so
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll inevitably get dragged to the cinema to see it with her.
So
Not that I
ter
wouldn't go and see it anyway, but a warped Crocodile Dundee sort
Yeah.
of bloke in the woods. Whereas the Chatterer, I don't know, she just doesn't like. And it's really funny because I've interviewed Nicholas Vince, who plays the Chatterer,
I was gonna say, yeah.
The nicest
so
man.
many times, and she's like, I don't believe it. She's like, no,
You need
how
to
could you
book
be nice
a
and dress
cameo.
like that?
You need to book like get like him to do a video for like a birthday message or something.
Get her a cameo.
I've been
Oh,
tempted to get her his documentary that he did, his one man stage show, I Am
Yeah.
Monsters, which sort of explains his history and stuff. But I just there are images of the Chatterer in it, and
Yeah. But
she
then
would
maybe
need me to be sat next to her going, shut your eyes,
I'll
open
turn
your
the light
eyes,
off now
shut
and
your
for you.
eyes.
shut your eyes
Maybe
for
Yeah,
this bit.
exactly.
understands him a little bit more. She'll face the fear. And she'll be like,
Yeah.
he wears
Exactly.
some lovely shirts and jackets sometimes. He can't be evil.
There's ever such a jaunty jacket
Ever
sometimes.
such a jaunty
I
jacket.
know, I know how people can take against people. I think moms especially. I think I've definitely told you this, Ben. My mom bloody hates Jarvis Cocker because once on Saturday morning television he was wearing a t-shirt that said "I hate wet, wet, wet," and my mom fucking loves wet, wet, wet.
Oh
So
shit!
turned against Jarvis forever at that point. Don't matter how
Did you?
many Britpop bangers he puts out. He thinks, what a piece of shit. Also, wasn't a fan, would have never voted for Jeremy Corbyn because he has an untidy garden. I did point out that probably wasn't his garden he was being interviewed because he was just being interviewed in the street. So
Poor
it's
old Jeremy
unlikely he
Corbyn.
would probably interview the leader of the opposition just outside his own front garden.
Jeremy
But no,
Corbyn gets it for being untidy all the time, doesn't he? Go, his shirt's not tucked in properly. Bloody hell.
yeah. So those two people, my mom turned right against because of a thing. So I totally understand,
I
Kat, if
hate.
Nick Vince wearing a leather jacket that one time and some too many belts, doing too big of a smile, chattering his teeth about, she'd be like, no,
Did you know? Sorry to um focus on wet, wet, wet. Did you know Wet, Wet, Wet are on tour currently without Marty Pello?
I
What's the
did
bloody
know
point?
that.
What's the bloody point?
That's what a woman in the audience when my parents went said. They were like, my mom had been prepared for that Marty wasn't going to be there. But there was another woman who was there who found out live and
Oh my God.
practically walked out. She was like, what? Who's this fella?
Yeah, what's going
He
on?
was doing the mask. He was doing the Masked Singer, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Did he get revealed
He
recently
was
as well?
Yeah, in the final, he was the wolf, I think.
Yeah,
So I guess he was busy. Maybe he was there. He was just wearing a mask.
Yeah, disguised. I saw Marty Pello in a musical version of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
oh, he
No
did.
notes, excellent stuff. The seat was a bit cramped. That wasn't his
Yeah,
fault.
yeah. You would be fuming there if you turned up and there was no Marty Pello. It'd be like, yeah, what's the bloody point? Uh, right. Any other bits of news? Oh yeah, this last bit. I hope I'm going to say this right. Ithaqua. For the first time in 60 years, Hammer Films is unleashing a brand new monster. There's going to be a new film set in the brutal wilderness of 1800s Canada. There's going to be a new slate of movies under Hammer to celebrate and preserve the unmatched legacy of Hammer horror. Um, yeah, just starring Luke Hemsworth, Michael Pitt, Lena Robinson. Um, well, there's not much of a synopsis apparently, apart from it's in 1800s Canada. What on earth could it be? A new Hammer horror monster, the Ithaqua. I feel like if I Google that, it's going to be like some sort of um, Native American thing. Actually, set in
I feel
Canada.
like it gives me Wendigo vibes just
Yeah,
because Canada.
Hmm.
yeah. But you know what? Absolutely, brand new monsters for in a world where there are loads of remakes, loads of reboots. It's nice to see something fresh and new. Not that there's still plenty of fresh and new out there, but a new take on a Hammer monster. Absolutely, all over that. Um, yeah. So that is. There's no release date for that, so that's coming soon. What we've been watching, anything you've seen in the last 7 days or so, Kat. I know you're bang on it with as I said, I've done some mild letterbox stalking, so I've seen that you're you're watching tons. Is there anything from recently you'd like to potentially end to our listeners at all?
I mean, I've mainly been like in the trenches watching Fright Fest Glasgow stuff,
In the
and
trenches. Yeah,
yeah, but because it's into I've got a 6 year old, she can't watch these films with me, so it's a lot
yeah.
of like, Mummy's going to disappear at the weekends now, unless she's then when she's at school, it's slightly easier.
Mm.
Slightly less recently, I watched Addison Hyman's new film at Sundance. So Addison did a film called Hypochondriac a couple of years ago, which is a devastating sort of like psychological horror based in part on his own mental health breakdown.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
with some Donnie Darko vibes to it in the respect of the character kind of hallucinates a giant wolf rather than a giant bunny rabbit.
Okay.
But he has just done his follow-up film, which is called Touch Me, which is two best friends, a woman and her gay best friend, go to stay with her ex-boyfriend who is an alien, and they basically start sort of fighting over him without really paying attention to whether or not he may or may not be trying to take over the world. It's very
Oh my God.
tentacly, very
Okay.
tentacly. There is a entire fetish community uh who will really enjoy aspects of this film, but it's a lighter film than Hypochondriac. So if Hypochondriac left you like having panic attacks, which I know it definitely did when it screened at Fright Fest for some people, this
Did
is
it?
much more fun. It's got the I forget the actor's name, but he played Felix in Orphan Black, who was like the adoptive brother of Tatiana Maslany's character,
Hmm.
and he is super funny. It's got Lou Taylor Pucci from Spring as the alien. There's a dance break sequence which is just glorious, and yeah, so that's fun. And then
Dance break. Interesting.
outside of that, I rewatched the first two seasons of Yellow Jackets and then the opening two episodes of
Oh
series
yes.
three. So
That's just
Nice.
dropped, isn't
that's
it?
been
Yeah.
my last 7 days has been just Yellow Jackets.
Wow. Amazing. Great stuff there. I've not actually seen Yellow Jackets, and to be fair, the first things I've seen of Sophie Thatcher have been sort of like the few movies she's been in. So the fact that I'm um really a fan of her work after that, I should probably check it out. Is it a major role she is in the Yellow Jackets?
Yeah, she's because it's set across two times, so it's very kind
Yeah.
of it's very much like Lost. It's it's
Yeah.
these girls have a plane crash and then it's following them in the present whilst flashing back to
That's right.
them
Yeah.
in the past. And she plays the younger variant of Juliette Lewis
Oh,
really
okay.
well as well, like
Wow.
perfectly cast as a younger version of her.
Amazing. I should definitely check that out. Andy, anything you've seen in the last 7 days you want to
Couple
mention?
of little bits. I'll skate over a couple very quickly. I
Yeah.
saw film from late last year. I saw Y2K. It's kind of a this is the end comedy horror kind of
Oh,
vibe, but
wait.
with
Yeah.
technology. It has Jaden Martell, Rachel Ziegler of Snow White fame, Julian Dennison, Ricky Baker himself, and Mason Gooding from today's film as well in a small role. It's the Y2K bug makes computers go loopy and they turn against people and try and get them.
I saw the
Um,
trailer for this and I thought it looked pretty good. Have you seen
uh,
this, Cat?
I haven't because it's not technically out in the UK yet. It's out in America on like VOD and stuff, but
Mm.
I haven't got around to it. But yeah, it basically sounds like um Maximum Overdrive, but at the turn of the millennium,
Yeah.
which
From the
is
trailer,
sounds
I
great.
kind of Maximum Overdrive meets maybe like This Is the End in a way
Mm.
that it kind of reminds me of that. But
yeah, very similar vibes. It was fun. I think Ben, you especially will enjoy some of the needle drops on this one. It has, if you're of a certain age, if you also turned your late teens, turned 18, kind of around the turn of the millennium, like I did, it is absolutely loaded with nostalgia for characters that are meant to be that age at that time. Obviously, I wasn't in an American school, so I don't have that going for me. Um, but just things that are, I would say, hard coded into your very spirit, like the sound of dial-up internet, like
yeah.
lots of the song choices are incredible. I would say the back half isn't quite as strong as the setup, but
Mm.
um, a lot of fun. It's good to get the chance to catch up on that one. I went to the cinema having had a little bit of a mix up and saw a couple of Valentine's films. The other one, of probably more of interest to last week's guest, Janine, saw like an action movie, a bit of lovely violence in a film called Love Hurts. And you
Oh
guys seen
yeah,
this?
that's no, I haven't, but I have seen this advertised as well. Yeah, with the guy we mentioned last week. Forget his name. Kihu Kwan. That's
Yes.
it. Yes. There we
Yeah.
go. I always go to
It's
refer to him as you
as a
know.
character name. Yeah, he's very charming in it. Like it's just a lovely bit of silly fun. We went to the cinema. We're Butler being very naughty, even though they sell them at cinema, had a beer in there after a Valentine's weekend curry
Is
and
this?
just had a good laugh.
I'm looking merely at the poster and a couple of screenshots. Is this man who used to be hard as nails is living a normal life, and then for some reason he's got to be hard
He's
as
got to
nails
go.
again.
He's got to get back into it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been watching. I still haven't finished it yet, but I picked Creature Commandos back up, which not directly
Oh
horror
yeah.
related, but there's a Frankenstein or two in it, so it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. I've got a couple of episodes left to watch of that. I wanted to wait for it to all be out before I just got in and stuck and watched it because they're not particularly long.
Mm.
Um, and then the main event, then the bit everyone has been waiting to hear from me on, and the thing I will dwell on a little more is another week has passed, so I have watched another episode of cutting edge contemporary television drama that I'm enjoying very much, one episode a week. Friday the 13th, the series, 1987 to 1990. Um,
Oh yeah.
in this week, episode 4, after their incident with the Cupid statue from last time, our heroes, Mickey and Ryan, plus Old Man Jack, have facing down against another cursed item. This one, a magical teacup.
A magical
Um,
teacup.
a magical teacup, which it turns out there's a lady who's got hold of it, and she's using it to keep herself young by stealing the youth from. They don't become old, just murdering homeless people, which is very bad. So our heroes, Mickey and Ryan, go on the trail to find and recover this teacup. Uh, just at the time that a benefit for homeless people is being played in the park, played by a young, hot new punk singer called Lady Di, like the Princess of Hearts slash Die as in Kill. And spoilers for something almost 40 years old. She's behind it all. She's retaining her youth and looks because she's always looking in a mirror going, oh, a wrinkle. So she has to nip out every so often and get someone to drink from this enchanted cup. And these horrible ivy vines come out and wrap them up and choke them to death so she can remain young. I said it before, Ben, and I'll say it again. I love this show. Every single episode so
Well,
far is a good enough concept to be an entire movie.
you've already convinced me, and I'm going to check it out as well. I don't know. Shall we keep at this pace in one a week? I'm going to have to catch up with you initially.
Yeah, you can catch up, but then I refuse to go any faster.
There are officially 72 episodes as well, so you know.
So in about a year and a half's time, we will do some editing and do a
Wrap it
supercut
up.
of every single episode.
Yeah, we should
But
do that.
something this enjoyable. I think it might lose its shine if I just was
Binge it, yeah.
back to back them and binge them every week. I'm almost like I look forward to recording these and talking to you and our wonderful guests about a fun horror movie because it's a fun thing to do. But I
Mm.
also know that when I pass that marker, then I can watch another episode of Friday the 13th, the series, as well. So guess what I'm doing tomorrow? Getting to sit down at my desk nice and early. Now have a quick glance at the emails before I start work, get a cup of tea, and watch a lovely episode of Friday the 13th, see what they're getting up to in this next adventure. Have you
Oh,
ever
man.
seen this, Cat? If not, I feel like I have a rare recommendation that someone can give you.
I haven't, no. I mean, I think I've heard about it in like the big Friday the 13th, like 20-hour documentary or whatever it
Yeah.
was. They only very briefly touched upon
Mm.
the series. So yeah, it might be something that I can watch at lunchtime,
Still can't.
maybe.
Is there still not even a Jason like
There's
cameo?
nary a mention of a Jason so far, and I'm not sure there ever will be, because they're just having Monster of the Week, X-Files type
Oh,
adventures.
absolutely.
And I love it because they've all done this themselves. People were buying these crazy antiques from the grandfather who dies early on. They were buying them for years, but then before they found out all the stuff was all wrong and cursed, the day they first get there, they go, right, let's have a bloody jumble sale.
Clear out.
So they've been selling a ton of this stuff. There's
It,
probably
72
high
episodes.
70s numbers of episodes left before they've collected it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Kat, I think I've said this in on the socials, but if I can give you anything, it's kind of like if the X-Files, but through the lens of a diagnosis murder. Like think of that kind of tonality. I mean, no Dick Van Dyke. That's the only mark I've got against it, though, to be honest.
The only mark.
Yeah.
Okay, very quickly. I've only got a couple of things to discuss. I watched Night of the Demons 2 and Night of the Demons 3. Um, Night of the Demons 1 is pretty good. It's always been one of those films that I've kind of enjoyed as a sort of 80s horror. But then, yeah, Night of the Demons 2 is 1994, Night of the Demons 3 is 1997. Night of the Demons 2 is loads of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was very, very silly, more of the same, very over the top. The effects are great, including an effect, and you may have seen it in I don't know if anyone's watched In Search of Darkness, the 90s version, because I kind of did see this. There's an effect where somebody reveals their breasts and then someone reaches in to grab these breasts and then these breasts turn into hands and they grab back. So it's a pretty good effect. And there's another effect where like the titular well the demon antagonist of the film, Angela, turns into like some sort of horrible snake monster. And it's horrific, like terrifying. Is the kind of thing if I'd have saw that as a kid, I would have needed someone to turn the light off for me. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have
It's
turned
horrific.
against her like the Chatterer.
Yeah, and it is a bit like tacked on the end. And I did read apparently they got like a new investor or something in the film, and they went, right, let's make an amazing like practical effects thing, and they made this horrible like snake woman. It's horrific. The 1997 Night of the Demons 3, nowhere near as fun, a bit silly. There's just any excuse for someone to be topless or naked. And we're talking like in a horrible, dilapidated house. You know what I mean? Like, never at
Yeah.
any point am I in a horrible, dilapidated house and gone, I'm just gonna strip right off here.
If
Um,
anything, you'd be putting on some PPE, protect your lungs from all
yeah,
that mold.
you would exactly. It's got the weirdest, longest opening credit sequence where it's like they've just gone CGI budget is through the roof. Let's do a mad CGI opening sequence. I was watching it for ages thinking this has gone on for like 5 minutes. It probably isn't as long as that. Um, but yeah, it's kind of basically it's the same setup. Get a bunch of kids into this haunted demon house, pretty much, by any means necessary. Uh, one and two, probably both worth your time. Number three, maybe not so much. But there was a remake as well, apparently, like a 2009 remake of Night of the Demons, which I definitely have never seen and didn't even know existed. So
Think I've seen it.
you seen that?
I think it has. I think it has Edward Furlong and
It
Shannon
does have
Elizabeth
Edward
in it.
Furlong. You're right. I mean,
Yeah,
that's all you need
then
to
I
know,
have
right?
suffered through it because
You
Edward
said-
Furlong was he was like a big. I'm a big Terminator fan, so Edward John Connor was like an early crush,
yeah,
so I would watch whatever he was in. But yeah,
Shannon Elizabeth is in it as well. Like
Shannon
2009, Shannon
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. That's got to be hard to come by, I'd say.
Post Jack Frost, surely.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say though, just from looking at screenshots, the effects in 2009 Night of the Demons look like nothing in comparison to the 80s one. Like genuinely terrifying. Like the demon like makeup effects are scary. Like genuinely scary. So we're well worth checking those two out. What were you gonna say,
yeah,
Andy?
I
Sorry.
need to catch up on that series. I've only seen the first one, need to see the others. I mean, Kat, I do have a question for you though, bearing in mind you're a big Edward Furlong fan. Have you seen him in, I believe it is called Arachnoquake?
I don't believe I have because I did. So I was very invested in Edward Furlong, and then I met him at a convention, and he no longer looked how he had looked when he was a teen heartthrob, and
No, don't believe you.
it was a little bit disillusioning. And then I think he had like there was some he went to prison at some point,
Yeah.
and so I kind of distanced myself a little bit from that. So I've not actively sought out that one.
I mean, he is in his. It was indeed. My memory had not failed me. He was indeed in Arachnoquake. He is like a dad character in it who drives a bus.
A dad.
And when the titular Arachnoquake happens, but you know, if it helps sweeten the deal, Ethan Phillips is in it as a nice dad character, aka Mr. Neelix himself. Off he goes.
When if there's like a teen heartthrob or someone you kind of fancy when you're growing up and they're old enough to play a dad, Is it a bit sad, or do you feel like
Withers a person, doesn't it?
oh,
That
they
kind
moved
of.
into the next phase of their attractiveness? Not always, unfortunately. It doesn't always work like that, does it? Um, okay. So apart from that, film of the week, the main event, which is Heart Eyes, and that is a 2025 American romantic comedy slasher film directed by Josh Ruben, and it stars Olivia Holt, Mason Gooding, Gigi Zumbado, Michaela Watkins, Devon Sawa, and Jordana Brewster as well. Um, and in terms of plot, for the past several years, the Heart Eyes Killer, HEK, has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. This Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. No couple. Even if you're not really a couple, you're kind of just standing close to each other. Oh, wait, they do have a kiss.
If you
That's,
have a romantic misunderstanding, sometimes just causes a bit of awkwardness.
yeah,
When this happens, you
that's
could
the,
get a murder in. Obviously, this is a new film, everyone, and if you've not listened to the show before, one, welcome. Two, we will go through the plot in detail as we give our thoughts on it, and we'll be spoiling this. So if this is a film you are going to see, give us a little pause. It's all right. That's how podcasts work. We'll be here when you get back from seeing it. But if you've missed the boat on it or spoilers do not matter to you, strap in.
strap in. Exactly. Right. In terms of ratings, a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes, 80% audience score, 78% critics score. That's pretty good. Letterboxd, 3.0 out of 5. And a few choice reviews from Letterboxd. Amanda the Jedi says, a full rom-com slasher hybrid, and that's just a fun time. 3.5 stars. Haley says, a Hallmark movie taken over by kinky Scream fans, and I mean that in the best way possible. 3.5 stars. Heil Ziegler, reign of cliches, but has enough charm and works relatively well in the both genres it plays. 3 stars. And then Paul Lair says, this movie is laugh out loud funny and delivers gnarly kills. Mason Gooding is charisma walking on 2 legs. 4 stars. There we go. I think, do you know what? This film's got a lot of charisma, and I feel like the 2 leads have definitely got tons of charisma. Sometimes in
Yeah.
a film like this, maybe like one person has got tons of charisma, but to find 2 people who've got great charisma together as well, I feel like is kind of rare, I guess. I don't know. I don't
Good
know
chemistry between them as well. There's been a
Mm.
spate of films that have come out in the last couple of years, not in the horror world so much, but in general, where you can see that 2 leads have been cast together because they are hot names right now, but have very, very little chemistry between them, which kind of takes you out of the film to the point where you're not sure they even recorded on set together. But these guys, I think they work with each other very well.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, Mason Gooding, he's in Scream, right, isn't he?
Yeah.
Scream 6 and
Yeah.
5. He's in Y2K as well, as you said. And then Olivia Holt, she's in Totally Killer, which you've already mentioned before as well. She's in Cloak and Dagger, isn't she? I don't know if you've
I
seen that
never saw
Marvel show.
Cloak and Dagger.
Mm.
No, she's Cloak. No, Dagger.
Dagger.
She's Dagger. Sorry. Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously a great sort of like lead performances as well. Like the comedy is kind of it hits home, I feel like, and having a couple of horror famous faces there as well, Devon Sawa and is it who's the other one? She's from The Faculty, isn't she? Jordana Brewster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
The Faculty. Sorry, I was get confused. Unbelievable cheekbones, just and she's Fast and the Furious. That's it. That's the reason where I'm like, what's she in? Because I've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie. Well, actually, the first one. Don't think she was in that one. Um,
Yeah, she was. She was
she was.
the lady. She's the lady that makes the amazing tuna fish sandwiches, which bring Paul Walker's character
Oh,
to the shop
okay.
every day.
Oh yeah. You know what? Forgive me, but yeah, there we go. She's in The Faculty, is what I would have recognized her from. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then obviously a great. Oh, that's where the Hobbs and Shaw joke comes from.
Yeah.
Right. Well, silly me. I kind of went, yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. That's pretty funny. It's got
So
another layer to it.
what's a good name for a good like duo?
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, Kat, you're a fan. You had a good time with this one.
Yeah, I did. I mean, as we discussed earlier, Josh Ruben is really good at doing sort of like the comedy horror. And here he brings in sort of like the romantic, like, because he does, I'm not a rom-com girl at all. There's a few that I will sort of allow to exist. But even I can sort of appreciate what he's doing when he is sort of skewering those. I mean, that letterbox thing said it's all the cliches, but that's what this film is. It's getting all those cliches and then giving them this twist and sort of throwing them in the mix together and seeing what comes out. And it's very fun right from that, cold open. It sort of addresses where it's going to go, what it's going to do, and it's just a nice fun time. The first time I saw this, I saw it literally on my own in a screening room, and it was
Yeah.
just as much fun sitting and watching it on my own as it was on a rewatch with a crowd of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It seems like a good film to watch with sort of a crowd of people, I guess. And as you said, like couples as well, like maybe couples that weren't maybe both of them aren't sort of super into horror, but it's kind of like one of those films that kind of like brings those genres together, so you feel like you can go and enjoy it together as well. Um, yeah, I feel like it's got everything. I feel like it doesn't skimp on the gore either. You know, people are getting heads crushed and um, horrible sharp implements through their heads, through their necks, through their. There's some of the weirdest angles for things to go into faces that I've seen in ages in a film. Like, just like kind of through the eye and in through the nose. Just like brutal, like super, super painful looking. Um, but yeah, Andy, you were a fan as well?
Yeah, big fan. Mentioned had a little bit of a Valentine's Day double. Managed to get my wife to come and see Love Hurts. I didn't get her to accompany me to come and see Heart Eyes though. So it's a pretty quiet screening when I went, but like Kat said, like still really enjoyable, even with without lots of like direct audience feedback. I think this is very successful in delivering the comedy bits because it genuinely is funny. It's not funny for a horror movie. It genuinely is just quite funny in various parts. Loved the chemistry. I loved the dialogue is nice and punchy, nice and sharp. Yeah, I had a great time with this one, and as you say, Ben, doesn't really scrimp on the gore either. Again, it's not toned down for being a I don't have Josh's words, Cat. The bifurcated um delivery there, like it isn't weak in both senses. I
Yeah,
think the horror is still really strong here, and it's really, really fast paced.
yeah. And I think it is something to be said for people who like go, oh, I hate romantic films in any way. It kind of gives people who feel like that's something where it like gives you a setup with here's a super romantic moment and these characters are actually the worst and
Yeah,
now watch them die.
yeah. I
That's
feel like
good.
it can play into kind of both angles on that one. If you have that approach and you're like, oh, but he hate romance films, then you can sort of celebrate that these interactions are almost punished by a horrible
Yep.
murderer. But at the same time, if you were super into your romantic comedies and
Mm.
you therefore are so well tuned into all of these tropes, then I think it gives you a great reward in the comedy sense. Like, oh yeah, that is the genre of the
Mm.
thing I like, and it's being played with in a different way. I think whether you love or hate romantic comedies, there's something to enjoy here.
It's an interesting direction for it to go in as well because I didn't expect this. I kind of just thought, oh, those guys are going to be the couple who's trying to who this killer's trying to kill, but they're not even together. And I like the fact that they're kind of like protesting pretty much the whole duration. We're not even together, and then they keep ending up in situations where they're kissing, gazing into each other's eyes, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And the Heart Eyes Killer witnesses this. Um, yeah, it was good fun. It was a good time. Um,
So let's get into that cold open, shall we?
yeah, getting to the cold open, which takes place at a lovely vineyard. A lovely vineyard where like it's the most set up proposal ever, isn't it? Like just from to the point where the bride, the would-be bride, is even like mouthing the proposal, the words of the proposal, like she's told this guy to say it word for word. Don't miss a word out. They've got a photographer waiting in the bushes over there, ready to capture the lovely moment. Um, yeah, it's pretty over the top. Oh yeah, he puts in a strawberry as well, right?
Yeah, and she's
You told him not
furious.
to do that.
Told you not to put it in my food. First of all, difficult to put anything in a strawberry without turning it to mush, I feel like. Second of all, I mean, I don't know about you, but I inhale my food, so it'd be really difficult. If have a lovely strawberry, oh yeah, great. Oh,
Yeah.
bit chewy. Um,
Um, yeah, I kind of not only skewering there, not just physically, but like metaphorically speaking, not only skewering the general romance thing, but I guess the whole Instagram of it all, right? The way that so many of these things are staged and actually not about the emotional weight of these things, but about how many likes your engagement is going to generate. Super curated, super, and he has the music on, and like you say, he's reading this offline, and then they're both furious. Firstly, she is furious that he messed up and put the ring in food, which means that she has to fish it out of her mouth, and it looks a bit gross. And then the photographer calls and said, "Oh, I got a bad angle here. The sun is glaring. I didn't get it. You're gonna have to do it again." And the, it's a nice like record scratch moment, isn't it? The emotion of it is gone, and it's the, oh, you're doing this
what ringtone has he got
performatively.
as well?
I
The
don't remember
Magic Mike, the Magic Mike.
Oh yeah, bow, bow. That
Yeah,
one. Yeah. Everyone in this film's got their phone like on the most obnoxious volume and vibrate as well. One or the other. Come on, what's going on? Um, yeah, and that is when obviously said the photographer says do it again, and then the heart ice killer appears, but stabs him like straight through the lens of the camera. Pretty
yeah,
brutal.
straight through the lens, just doing his job as well.
Just doing his job, lovely bloke. Yeah, exactly. What's the point in that? One thing about the killer, I like he's got some serious like weight to him, hasn't he? Like the impact of his feet, like just the sound of him walking towards you, like is like a Michael Myers, I guess, isn't it? Where you think, well, actually, that was more like a Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, right? With the
Yeah, big clodhoppers going
big,
through the.
massive, stompy boots and stuff. Yeah, you'd hear him coming a bloody mile off. Um, yeah, so I don't know what to expect. Was it going to be the bloody Undertaker or something under that mask? Yeah, so he kills them and then he fires his what is it? Just like a little crossbow thing he's got.
Yeah, so basically the
yeah.
photographer is dispatched, and then as they go through the second round of their proposal, all of a sudden, poor fella gets arrowed.
Yeah, arrowed. Oh, this was quite good as well, wasn't it? Because he got arrowed and his eye was kind of like just like turning inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good effect. Um, she screams and runs away. Obviously, she's fuming because this moment's been ruined. Not so much that she's going to die, but you know, I've taken ages. There's a moment where he calls her where she's hiding in the vineyard and he's like listening out
The phone
for.
going.
So obviously we're saying he at this point, but I think it is still open to interpretation. And a little bit later when the reveal happens, again, we are spoiling this from start to finish. Is there a moment later when they kind of divulge who was doing what? Like in terms of they do a bit, don't they?
Yeah, they at least identify who was the one at the vineyard and who was the one
Yeah.
in Ali's bedroom. So they do as much as that
Who
one,
had
and
a
then I
sex?
think they just send the other guy as fodder.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy. How do you feel about that? Because obviously there's tons of stuff where people try and work out in the Scream movie who is Stu and who is Billy at what point, you know. If he's a bit clumsy, it's Stu getting his ass kicked. And the one that's like a bit more methodical, I guess, is Billy. I don't know. I kind of like being able to work that out. And with this though, I don't know. Is anyone believable as this big, like heavy duty
I think when you've got all of the
juggernaut man?
when you've got all of the people in play, then it certainly is. I think because you've got multiple characters to play with, some that are of different sizes. I think you can play, especially when you find out who the people are a
Mm.
little bit later. I think there is, it's plausible that they would have
Yeah, not
maybe
that.
skills to make up for a lack
Yeah.
of body mass
I mean,
in
I
some
wasn't
instances.
necessarily thinking that, but I can see how somebody might say that's a little bit. I feel like this happens in slasher movies all the time anyway, doesn't it? Like the slasher when the slasher when masked is unstoppable essentially, and as soon as the slasher is unmasked, that slasher becomes human and is
Oh
able
yeah,
to.
as soon as you do that, like you may as well put the stats up on screen that says like defense -10, attack -9.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
get absolutely debuffed by taking your mask off.
How do we feel about the look of the Heart Eyes Killer though? Are we a fan? I think it's pretty good, unique.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking of, the My Bloody Valentine, you can,
Yeah.
it's a cool mask. It's not like what a gas mask. And that cherub from Valentine, that
Mm.
whose nose can bleed,
Oh yeah.
that has that has been like in my sort of like when I left school, me and my friends went to see it in the final year of school, and it was hilarious because one of us hated horror films, and me and my other friend just spent the whole film laughing at her. And like in my leavers book, my friend drew the Valentine killer with the blood bleeding
With the nose bleed.
from the nose
Just to mess with
because
her.
yeah, yeah. But it's going back to the like the Jason Voorhees sort of thing of it all, isn't it? It's taking the mask back a little simpler, but giving it a little flourish too. Because I think that some of the mask killers we've had in recent years have gone they've tried too hard to be different, and this is
Mm.
it's like the film itself is a new take on two classics. This is just giving a fresh spin on something that audiences are used to seeing.
Yeah.
Is this one
And
a bit better in terms of peripheral vision? Like I think the Cherub Mask, zero peripheral vision. Like nothing going on. But this one seems a bit better, I guess. I don't know. I always put my I don't know if it's just me. I always put myself in the eyes of the killer and go, could I see anything that's going on here? Am I like Batman when you can't turn your neck? You're gonna be all right. I don't know. There's almost something um like I keep saying vampire killer, but like secret agent to him, like with the way he dispatches people, military training going on for someone who potentially actually we don't know the job role of everybody, you know. And again, it might just be a cover, a cover for what
yeah,
they've got going on. And
yeah, I
again,
think
don't
yeah.
stick to one city either. Sorry, go on, Andy.
There's like so the peripheral vision could have been a thing, but I think because of they've obviously put some tech behind this as well. So there's
Yeah.
later on we see that it has like a night vision function, very Buffalo Bill of them. Um, yeah, I think they've obviously worked around the limitations of it, and as we discover that there's multiple people, you probably have some backup there as well to support those things. And again, I think one of the things I like about a slasher killer as well is yes, when we have your fodder characters, absolutely infallible. They're going to get them every single time. Um, you know, dispatch them like they're eating jelly babies. Um, but then when they are faced up against someone who has a tiny bit of plot armor, someone who is a little bit more equipped to fight back, not entirely invincible. It's not that they can't be defeated. You can knock them down or knock them out. So
Oh
that
yeah.
lack of peripheral vision can almost be played in a in a point of view that there is a vulnerability that you can sneak away from them, and the bit where they're hiding from them in the drive-in movie, they're not going to be able to just stand in this field and go, "Oh, there they are over there. I'll go and get them immediately." They are able to kind of escape a little bit, and if anyone's had to dress up, you've had to dress up at Halloween, you know how irritating it is in a mask. That second of like, oh god, I've steamed it up by breathing in this, and how am I gonna have a drink? And like it is a little bit inconvenient, but I
Yeah.
think by and large, it's a good design. They've really gone for like an iconic silhouette. It's not been entirely absent in our lives since Scream, maybe, but it is harder, I think, now to come up with a truly original and iconic, like
Yeah.
horror boogeyman type design. And I think this has done it pretty well.
Because I'm thinking, obviously, the Happy Death Day baby. I can't even remember what the Totally Killer thing is. Is it like a blonde haired? weird Johnny Bravo. I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, but it reminds me of the masks from what's it called? Like Point Break. It's not
Oh
Richard
yeah, yeah, like the
Nixon, but it may as
president.
well be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult, isn't it? And I guess what is also kind of good is that it doesn't lean too heavily into the, oh, it's an emoji. Oh, it's so 2020s or something. It just is, and it is part of the sort of makeup of the world that we're kind of in. Yeah, it takes place over various cities as well. I think Philadelphia, um, Boston, and then eventually Seattle. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually
Yeah. So the Heart
Seattle.
Eyes Killer's established, right? So this isn't
Yeah.
his first rodeo. He's done this before.
Yeah. Any advice for couples wanting to go out on Valentine's Day? They asked that dude. Stay home. Yeah, pretty much. And I think I kind of like the little injection they've got here of like talking to people. Some people just go, "Oh, Valentine's Day sucks anyway," and then the other guy's like, "I'm not scared at all." He's like, "You're scared of the dark, mate. You're scared of the dark.
Oh,
You mug."
outed by your
Outed on
girlfriend.
live TV.
Although
Um,
we do see a lot of kids dressed up as the Heart Eyes Killer in.
oh yeah.
I'm not saying that it's insensitive, Ben. I'm saying have not a single one of them seen Halloween 2, where that idiot
Yeah.
dressed as Michael Myers that time and got
Oh god.
exploded by that car.
Exactly. Where are they selling these masks as well? Because
In
I
the
can
poor
understand
taste shop.
why you can get a ghost face mask because it was just a thing, wasn't it? And obviously by Scream 2, Stab exists. So of
Yeah.
course you can get it. Where are you getting a Heart Eyes mask from? It looks really one of a kind. Um, yeah, so obviously everyone's a little bit sort of worried about this. And this is Valentine's Day, isn't it? Because the
Yeah.
timeline, I feel like the timeline's all messed up because it's almost like you've got one day to save your job. Uh, let's go out for dinner tonight and sort it out. Sorry? You better get down to work right now. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you waiting the whole day
Yeah.
until 8 p.m.?
The Heart Eyes Killer is roughly Valentine's adjacent. He can do,
Yeah,
let's say
few
your
days.
Valentine's Day falls on a Tuesday. He's got the weekend before. He
Yeah.
can bleed a little bit into the week. It's the same as any day that you would treat that is a thing that you might mark with a card
Yeah.
that doesn't fall on a public holiday, like Pancake Day, a film that we should make a horror movie about. I'll add that to the list.
Heart, but they call him Hek as well. I feel like that's unnecessary. Heart Eyes Killer is not much more difficult to say than Hek. Or are they trying to do like a spin on HBK? Heartbreak Kid? Shawn Michaels? Like, I don't know. That's two wrestlers I mentioned already. Sorry. So, um, so yeah, obviously he's coming to Seattle. The winery couple have been killed, and then another couple at a spa that get killed, like off camera. No one cares about them. Um, and then we're introduced to our police officer characters who go to the winery to pick up the pieces. She gets right in there in the barrel as well, doesn't she?
She's professional.
Like there's bits of hair and bone and horrible stuff all going on. You'd feel like there'd be a as soon as it realized there was resistance enough, where it's like there's a body in there, don't crush it, crushing the bloody grapes to bits.
Yeah,
Painful shame.
that's where our other uh, member of the couple we didn't say in the cold open is eventually chased
Oh
to
yeah, we didn't
and
even say it, did we? No.
dispatched. Um, yeah, it's for a bloody scene. This is where we meet. Now, remind me, which is Hobbs and which is Shaw?
Hobbs is
It's Janine. It's Janine Shaw and
that's right.
Devon Sawa
Oh yeah,
is
because
Hobbs.
the JS is very key, isn't it? Hobbs and Shaw, love it. Yeah, we're introduced to them. I don't know, they got a weird relationship going on. Devon Sawa is a bit like I don't know, he's into her, but like, and I guess Janine has always sort of mentioned that she's single. She's on like some sort of dating app, matching with various people throughout the day. I don't know. It's a weird sort of dynamic they got going on.
You get one message on one of these dating apps, what are you doing? Well, currently in a wine press.
I'm in the middle of just picking through a lovely squashed body, a lovely bouquet for this. Oh yeah, what was the wine called as well? What was it called? I do, but like do was number two. For me, it's naff and well, I like it. Um, okay, and then we're introduced to Ali. She works for like a jewelry company. She's a pitch a pitch designer, like marketing expert. She's got a metal straw that she carries around everywhere. That's very, very key. If you thought that was a throwaway
Environmental.
detail, that is a good detail. She's getting a lovely coffee in a coffee shop, and she's talking to her friend about. She's recently split up with her partner, and now she's like stalking him on social media because he's doing
Got a
the.
new girlfriend.
He's got a new girlfriend, and he's harping on about it constantly. And we all know someone like this in real life who's just got a new girlfriend. Every post they post is like, "So I'm so bloody lucky." I like people to be happy, but not happier than me.
It's one of
Uh,
these things that will infuriate a heart eyes killer, right? All of
oh
these,
yeah,
the posting about your new relationship, and like, gotta tell you, absolutely privileged. Our first year together is, it's gonna be so magical.
yeah.
Um, Makes you sick, doesn't it? People being happy.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, so yeah, her friend's obviously saying, "Stop torturing yourself." Then she goes and picks up her coffee, which is like a bit of a over the top extreme order. It's exactly the same as the order for this other
A handsome
feller,
man.
handsome man, JS J Simmons. They full name him all the time. This guy, don't they? J Simmons.
It's important.
It is important, but they full name him all the time. Yeah, they have a little bit of an interaction.
They
I see
bonk heads
two
accidentally, and it's
seriously painful signing headbutts where I was like,
yeah,
Jesus
good
Christ.
Foley work. Please
Good
pass this
Foley
on
work,
next time you
yeah.
see Josh.
His nose is bleeding and she slings some napkins at him and runs away. Just runs away. Couldn't
Yeah.
believe that.
Before
Um,
you go on though, Ben, I think I mean, there's killers in this movie. There are people having romantic misunderstandings. The one I would say most relatable character we've seen in all of anything produced in film in years, I would say. That barista, just sick of it. Just, do you mind moving? Like, you'll be
I'm moving, I'm
surprised. It's
busy.
actually a really common order. Can you move?
I like that. Bless him. He ain't taking any
Yeah,
shit. I don't think it
just
is a common
sick of
order.
it.
Two honey, one sugar. Two honey, one sugar. And then they both go to put more sugar in when
Yeah.
they're, excuse me? Two honey, one sugar. That's already enough. Come on now.
Say, come on, lads, you're drinking sugary drinks like your healthcare's free.
Yeah. Exactly. And we've seen Jay Simmons's abs because somebody gets up his Instagram at one point, don't they? We've seen his washboard abs. He ain't having two honey, one sugar every day. Come on. That's not how it works. Maybe he's got great metabolism.
You're having a Splendor and some human growth hormone in your coffee.
Lovely. At the start of any at the start of any lovely breakfast.
And
Um
your coffee is just purely minced chicken liver for that
oh
protein you're going to need.
Jesus. Couple of raw eggs in there as well. So Ali's having a bit of a shit time and she's got an email as well from her boss, which is like, come to
All
this
hands
meeting.
meeting because it turns out you've made an insensitive ad campaign about people being shot to death.
This ad campaign is absolutely amazing. I loved it. What's wrong with this ad campaign? It's fine. Reframe it. Don't make it about death somehow. I don't know. I don't know. It's just
Or
like
just leave it as is because you live in a world where absolute psychos are buying masks of the killer that's renowned and around the town this
that's
day.
true. I
I
guess
reckon it's fine.
this is kind of realistic though, because obviously they're looking through the comments as well, and the comments are very negative and people getting offended on the behalf of others, etc., etc. But I was like, this is brilliant. I love this.
Look at those
Lovely.
arty ribbons.
The ribbons for blood. There's a bit where like it was like the Titanic door, and the sea was like this lovely red like silk. Oh, it was beautiful. I loved it. Uh, yeah. So and as luck
You'd
would
have gone
have it,
50 diamonds, please.
50 diamonds, please. 50 blood diamonds, please. And as luck would have it, they're getting in a freelancer to help this mess of a campaign, this insensitive campaign, and you never guess who it is.
Who is it?
It's Jay Simmons. It's Jay Simmons coming in. Not J.K. Simmons, which I nearly said then. Get me a picture of Spider-Man. So, and Ali can't believe it. He walks in. She's like, Jesus Christ. Who is this guy, though? Because he's making a living, right? He's making a killing, coming in as a freelance marketer, saving things. He's like, I'm flying out tomorrow. Oh, yeah. What are you going to do then to do this? Well, I'm going to schedule a meeting for 8 p.m. tonight to go through the campaign. And the rest
Give
of
me
the day,
some
I'm going to go to
advice.
yoga. going to go to yoga. I'm going to go into the women's bathroom. It is not just a women's bathroom, but he's going to go in anyway. Uh, he he's framing this thing as just like asking her out on a date as well, right? He pretty much does, doesn't he? I don't think he's. I feel like he's got no intention of bashing out the
Well,
pit.
they did. It was a very cute meeting earlier, so I'm not sure if he ever intends, like, if it is meant to be a date, or if they do get a very nice restaurant to go to.
Yeah, but he's like, they go to this meeting and he's like cracking on the champagne straight away. And she does say, "This is actually a work meeting. This is a
I mean,
work
he has
related
to
meeting."
move fast. He is flying out tomorrow, though, so if there is going to be any connection, they're going to have to make it on day one here.
Did you feel like at this stage, because I know they try and like red herring it, but did you feel like at this stage, Kat, did you feel like there were any clues that he could potentially be involved, or do you think it was just like a big red herring from the word go?
I don't think so. I don't think he played the part remotely sinister enough to
No.
have that element. He seems very open book, but very sort of rom-com perfect, like you
Yeah.
say, we see the Instagram post, he's this Adonis and like this pitch. I mean, I imagine that he sets a meeting at 8 p.m. because he's a freelancer and that's apparently what freelancers do. They can keep their own hours, and he orders the champagne because he's billing it to Crystal.
Yeah.
So, his time's his own. He's got an early flight. He doesn't want to go back to the hotel and go to bed and have to wake up. He just wants to just sort of
He just
work
wants
through
to
and fly
Sweat
out.
through.
work for the night. He's a madman.
Well, these are the benefits of, obviously as a freelancer, he's been brought in. She's probably going to be paying him a pretty penny, but these are the premiums you get for a lack of job security. I mean, real life horrors. When Jay Simmons tries to get a mortgage, that's going to be unstable income.
Yeah.
He's going to have to put in so much extra paperwork. His broker's going to be charging a premium. So fair play to
Also,
him.
based on where he's been, they go, "Where have you been recently then?" Philadelphia, yeah. Boston, yeah. And now Seattle. All
Because I'm a
places
freelancer. What do you
Valentine
think?
Killer has been killing. He's gone, "Oh no! It's because I'm a freelancer." I bet he uses that as an excuse for everything. It's because I'm a freelancer. Oh. Um, so what happens? I guess what we get here is like certain rom-com tropes reframed for this film, which is like um get finding an outfit montage. Which is nice.
That was a cute story. I like the all the outfits they tried on.
All the
You know
different
that
outfits.
they're all Easter eggs for other films as well.
Are they?
Oh,
The first one, I didn't pick all of them out, but the first one, uh, like the suit, the skirt suit thing with the hat is Clueless. It's very much like what Dion wears. And then there's one where they're both in very shiny outfits. One of them is pink and one of them is blue. That's Romeo and Michelle's high
just
school reunion.
Oh,
And
see,
I'm
that's
pretty sure that like the others will all, like I say, I'm
yeah,
not a big rom-com person, but I'm pretty sure that all of them will be some sort of spin on
yeah,
the rom-coms.
that was very fun. That would have completely
yeah,
passed me by. I was like, they're wearing some fun dresses in different styles. Isn't this fun?
yeah. That was fun. And she, in the
Or a
end, she
horror
settles
thing,
for
because I
some.
hate trying on clothes. It's all horrible, isn't it?
I hate trying on. I never try them on, mate. I just always guess. Ah, fit. Come
just
on.
just always get just always get two or three in roughly the right sizes, but then you've got to deal with an even greater horror, having to take something back to a shop. You feel like a criminal. Oh, excuse me.
Feel
Can I
like
take
a
these back, please? I've not worn them. They're just the wrong size. They're like, what's that? Have the
shoplifted.
third put the spotlights on you. No.
Put four spotlights on you. Different beads of sweat running down your head. Different. No, no, no. I got the receipt. Have you now? And you had the receipt. It was definitely it was there. You had it in your pocket. You put it in your wallet for safekeeping. But when it comes to getting out, it's gone.
The ink's faded away like Marvin Acme's will. Oh no.
Wait, what? Who's Will?
Marvin Acme from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Sorry, I thought it was going to be another Postman Pat reference. Um, but in the end, what kind of outfit does she settle on? Just like I guess one that more suitable for her. Much more professional, I guess. I feel like if you turned up in, I feel like one of his dresses was very rubbery. Was one it was like latex or something.
Like a lovely
If
party frock.
lovely party frock. Yeah, they meet at the restaurant. Jay's a little bit late. That's rude. And they do that thing where they're trying to, I guess, like do the psychology thing on each other. Oh, you've had your heart broken recently, haven't you? No. And this is the thing, like she obviously ended a relationship as well, but she's got the FOMO, the instant FOMO, because old fella's moved on immediately, too fast, if you ask me. And she's like, yeah, I broke up with him, but he's moved on quickly. It's not fair. When that happens, when you break up, you want. I know it's a race for who can be happiest first, but it's horrible when you lose that race.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fair, but like, unfortunately, it's a real
It's a real
AVP
shitty.
situation. Whoever wins, someone's going to lose. And
It's a real AVP situation. It is. Um,
unfortunately, she's lost this one, and he has moved on with his new girlfriend.
yeah,
And she is angry with Jay, like for, and I get it. Like, it is something that comes across like you'll meet someone who has the bare minimum of emotional intelligence, but then by the fact that he puts it forward, like, oh, I've analyzed you and this is how you feel, kind of rubs her up the wrong way that he's absolutely called it, that she has broken up with
yeah.
someone recently and isn't really over it. So she eventually goes at him and says, actually, look, I'm not interested in any of this. Just leave it out, will you? Because I would be I wouldn't be interested in you in the slightest. And really goes at him hard, and he goes, fair enough, let's just get on with this work, shall we? But then as they leave, her old boyfriend's only
Well,
just walking
actually,
in.
it doesn't even say let's get on with this work. He literally just goes, "See you later, then. I'm off. I'm off." I've never done that. Have you ever had the bottle to do that? Like, I don't know, a date or any situation, just go, right, that's it. I'm off. I ain't got a bottle.
Again, once again, real life horrors. No, I've been to places and looked at the menu and been like, there is nothing here I want to eat. This is going to be a miserable situation that's going to cost us money. And then they come over
Oh,
and go, oh, what would you like? I'm like,
or is it one?
I mean, I'm obviously staying.
It's one of those restaurants where it's probably slightly too upper class for me, and I'm reading the menu like I'm reading Arabic from right to left. I don't care what it is. I'm looking at it going, that sounds delicious. It's the cheapest. Who knows what it is? Um, yeah. So he leaves, but then Ali like goes after him, um, like apologetically, I guess. And then when it seems like they're kind of, oh yeah, okay, whatever, she just randomly leans in and kisses him. I don't know. At this point, I kind of thought, well, fair enough, but she did it for a different reason.
Because horrible English boyfriend has moved
Is
on.
he horrible, or is it just because he's English that you think
No,
horrible?
well, I think he's a little bit like, I think it's not just because he's English. Can't say that nowadays, of course, but um, the thing that he points out immediately is like, she kisses him to make it out like that she's moved on as well, and I've got a handsome boyfriend, and
Yeah.
then he is like super callous, and he obviously she's like, oh, like it is really hard to get like a reservation here, so just thought I'd keep it. And it's like,
Well, yeah, because they
fair
say that
enough.
the people they were supposed to be like having dinner with are the couple from earlier at the winery or the vineyard who got killed, and they're like,
Yeah,
well, we're
we'll
doing it in
take.
their honor.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a
I'd
bad
be out of
boy.
there immediately because that's like 1 degree of separation already from me and the heart ice killer. So I'll be like, see you later. I'm off. And that's why it happens, I guess, because
Just
they're
go out on the
the
15th.
intended target, aren't they? Yeah, but you can't go out on the 15th because they're doing a bit of work. She's like, my job's on
You
the
can
line
though.
here.
The murderer, not the murderer, the boyfriend. He could go out
Yeah.
on the 15th.
No, they don't want to do that.
Like, it's a Sunday. You've got work the next day. I can see
Yeah,
it.
It won't look good on their social media, will it? Because they are very much
No,
that's
that
true.
social media-y couple. So
Oh, we
they
went out
need
on
to
the
get that
15th.
Valentine's content.
Mm.
you see, that's true. The clicks will be like really down if they don't put it out on the day.
The
Like, oh,
clicks will be down.
I'm
Think me
bored
the
of
likes, mate.
Valentine's Day.
Not the click throughs. Well, actually, she's a
Well, if
marketing
they're sponsored
guru.
content, those click throughs they
Yeah,
pay for themselves.
yeah, exactly. Um, so that happens. They both get in the. Oh, how nice is this taxi driver? What a lovely, lovely man. I just kept
Yeah.
thinking, don't you dare hurt this man. He's got Spotify sex mix on. He says something like that. Is that what he says? And he's just like, I don't know. He's just seeing through. He seems like a guy who he just loves. He lives and breathes. love. And he's just like, come on, guys, get it
He knows they're
together.
into each other. They're like, come
Yeah,
on.
we all need someone like that in our lives. Um, they drop Ali off. She goes to go in her apartment and then does, oh no, I forgot my bloody key. And she's left her key
I
in
really
like,
like this. It's very funny.
what bit? Oh, about punching
This
the
whole
window.
this whole bit.
Yeah. Um, Jay gets out to help her. I don't know why the option is smash the window. Is the option not ring the
Call your
landlord,
landlord.
phone a neighbor, wait for someone to leave the door, like come right out the door? Why is the option smash the window? I feel like this. We all know someone like this who immediately escalates the situation.
I also
Option
feel
is
it's
smash the
less
window, mate.
hassle. It's less hassle to take the taxi that's already outside back to the restaurant and get you a little bit awkward. But
Oh, she
can
thought
you
she left it
imagine
in
the
one of
admin
the.
of replacing a window?
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, it's fine because my landlord loves me." Well, great. Oh, and her method of smashing the window, she's just gonna bareback punch it, and then she just like raw dog that window straight
Punch it
through.
like the tall man in Phantasm, thumping windows out.
Yeah, Jesus. It's an elbow always, isn't it? I kept thinking that. I think, why are they going punching? I mean, I'm not breaking windows very
All
often.
right, Tony Jar, with your
I'm not breaking windows very often. It's always an elbow, isn't it? You always see it.
yeah.
Again, you see it in films. It's always an elbow. Um, well, what would you do, Andy? Head.
Brick,
Oh, right, brick. Well, like
an inanimate hard item.
Home Alone 2.
Yeah,
Just
half a brick, the solution, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
wrap a sorry note around it and throw in. Um, he smashes the window, but then he immediately gets a bit of glass. I kept thinking this again. I'm so like life admin, but I'm thinking, have they just left the Uber driver out there with the with the meter running? Even though it doesn't really work on an Uber, but still, I just kept worrying about him. I was hoping he'd gone, and then he turns
He's
up.
kind though. He would let it off. He'd
Maybe
let them off.
kind, but I reckon he'd still, yeah.
He's getting
Um,
5 stars certainly.
so they go upstairs, and the house, well, flat's a bit messy apparently, but I don't know. It is horrible when that happens though, when someone attend
Unexpectedly comes round.
unexpectedly comes round. That is horrible. Don't judge me on the way I live.
Oh, in the early days, Ben, this is sorry for the slight aside. Once, when I was a much younger man, I had there was a girl that would announce, "Oh, I'm on an afternoon off. I'll come round and see you for a bit." And I was tidying the house up a little bit, ready for her to come round, doing some admin. Thought, oh, there's loads of old bank statements here because when you used to get paper ones, I'll shred some posts that I've not got rid of. Trying to do it too fast, clogged the shredder. Thought I'd unclog this with a steak knife, stabbed myself in the hand, bled all over the house. Just got around there, I was having to elevate my hand to stop myself bleeding to death.
Clog the bloody shredder, mate.
Honestly,
I
clogged
wonder
the
what you were gonna
shredder.
say then. I was
Comes
gonna
around,
leave
what?
them.
What do you do? I still have a scar from that.
What were you worried about? Were you worried about her coming around and stealing your identity? Like
No,
stealing...
just my room. Just my room was a mess, and part of it because my dad had been hammering on at me. Or you can't just put that in the recycling. You'll end up like
Um...
Sandra Bullock in the net. You've got to shred all of this stuff. So I was shredding it, and then it got stuck, so I had to unclog it. And then, in trying to unclog it with a steak knife, the tension got too high. It pinged out and stabbed me in the hand.
Andy, think of the mechanism. Oh God.
Oh, I mean,
Bloody hell.
actually, for a time for someone to turn up at your house when you were bleeding quite severely and all over the floor, you actually had a pretty nice afternoon.
Lovely. So what are you
Um,
what are you suggesting?
that sometimes it's awkward when people come around and your house is a mess, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, Ali doesn't have the same problem. Her cleaner has just won the lottery, so has left.
Oh yeah. Is that true though? She just said that to
I think it's just a fun thing to say.
it's just a fun thing to say. How much did she win on the lottery again? Do you remember?
Million,
It was 1 million, wasn't it? Lovely.
million, yeah.
Lovely. Now, if you were given a bingo card at the start of this film and say, what's the first object that someone being attacked by the Heart Eyes Killer will use to try and fend him off? What would it be? Would it be little little pink rabbit sex toy that was somehow, yeah. I mean, she saw it, didn't she? And she's like, "Got to hide that." I don't reckon he'd judge, Mr. J Simmons. I reckon he'd
No,
go, "Yeah, fair enough, whatever."
live your life. He seems like an understanding guy.
He seems like a very understanding guy, yeah. Um, but were you shocked by this reveal of him of Heart Eyes Killer turning up? I didn't expect it one bit. I know opening a closet like that in a slasher movie in particular is, I don't know, it just didn't feel like the right time. I'm not saying it was bad, but it didn't feel like the right time for him to suddenly appear.
Gets us into it, doesn't it? It gets us like we don't have like a first encounter. I think it's a way to really get us straight up to full speed.
How'd he get in there?
Hey,
He took the key.
Oh, yeah, took the key. What took the
So
key?
she got it.
Oh my God. Why am I such an idiot? Hang on a minute. How'd he get the bloody key?
If they were locked out, how did you get in?
The story says locked out. Key is elsewhere. How's he got in? I'm so innocent when it comes to these things. I never, even serial killers, I go, they'd never do that. They'd never do that to someone. How
If she had
mean.
a spare key under a rock and had got in, so therefore Jay Simmons hadn't come in, would he have just sat awkwardly in the cupboard all
Yeah,
night?
probably would. There's a different cut of this film where that happens, yeah. Where they go off, where they go, ah, screw
And
it.
they get together because he comes out and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I was stuck in your cupboard." She goes, "That's all right. I've had a bad day."
I've had a bad day. Um, so yeah, Heart Eyes Killer attacks. What do we get? A little bit of a dust up in the room upstairs. People are getting headbutted, laid out, left, right, and center. Has he got?
They trap Heart Eyes Killer in the bedroom by very practical work, right? She
Oh yeah,
takes Jay
belts.
Simmons' belt off, and he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Get your mind out the gutter, Jay
Yeah, he
Simmons."
says, "What are you doing? Excuse me. There's no time for this. This is a terrible time, and if anything, I'm just not in the mood." All right, gets the bloody belt off. Um, Yeah, this was a pretty good move. Reminds me of what was it in Scream? She had like the door that closed over the other door,
The cabinet door. Yeah.
cabinet door, and then no one could get in ever.
Yeah.
That's
Reminds
it.
you of like, trapping your sister in a bathroom when she's in there, just put your belt on the door and then go out. Yeah.
See you later. I'm going out now for a week.
Without a belt.
Just
Well, you run your house, you got drawers full.
trousers around your knees. Um, so yeah, they managed to get away. Poor taxi driver gets killed, gets shot with the crossbow
Crossbow.
thing, which is pretty horrific. They end up in an abandoned botanical gardens. Is that what it is initially? I think I see a sign for botanical gardens being renovated. They run in there, just on your doorstep. And then I guess a few more kind of like Valentine's themed things. Lovely carousel, lovely swing. Heart Eyes Killer
Just
having a
quickly
go on the
run to
swing.
the abandoned amusement park. I feel
Yeah.
like this film has a wonderful bit of like
Right in the middle of the city as well.
almost like a brilliant like level select that just comes up every time people run between scenes. Like, what is going to be around the corner? Is it going to be the Valentine's Day Carnival? Is it going to be
Yeah.
abandoned amusement park?
So while they're hiding, oh sorry, while they get attacked, Jay gets like laid out, KO'd, and Ali just. The thing is, like, they make a lot about her abandoning him, but she just runs away when the killer continues to chase her. It's not like she left the killer there with him, right?
What's
The killer...
both of your judgment on this? Did Ali ditch Jay Simmons or not? Cat.
I mean, they are still being attacked.
Yeah,
She doesn't particularly know him, and you know, he has been incapacitated in, in Hex opinion. So, she is next. So yeah, she's got to get out of there.
yeah,
And I mean, there's no way as he's laid out. I mean, this guy, Mason Gooding in Scream, he's the pincushion of the franchise. In this, so
yeah.
much head trauma. Like he properly whacks his head when he falls on the ground, on that concrete ground. But he's considerably bigger and heavier than her, she's not going to be able to lift him up. Like it's a whole thing of like when you're on an airplane, you put your own mask on first before you help the person next to you. So she's just getting herself out of dodge so that she can eventually maybe come back and help him.
Yeah, she's gonna loop back around.
Hell yeah, makes total sense. If she'd left him there alone and the killer was like looming over him and she just went, "See you later," then maybe you could understand. But no, she was just trying to save herself, as you would. If anything, leading the killer away from him in a way.
She could have rebranded it like that. Both work in marketing. They should have thought of this.
Yeah, I should have reframed it. Come on, let's not make a whole new campaign here. Let's.
I was luring the killer away.
I was luring the killer away. So obviously we get a sequence as well with the Heart Eyes killer trying to attack her on a carousel that he ramps up to the highest speed.
And he's like, my horse is not catching up with her no matter how fast I turn this up.
This is rubbish. Proper slaps takes a carousel horse's head off as well. Intense. I felt it's going so fast as well. When they jump off of it, they're like, you see those videos of people on like the I can't think of what it's called, roundabout thing. What's it called?
I think it's called a roundabout.
It's called a roundabout. When it's going at like 100 miles an hour, someone gets like a motorbike wheel on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that. You jump
and teenagers make it spin too fast and someone bangs a head or something like that.
G-force. You get G-force.
Gets a terrible head trauma, like poor old Jay Simmons.
There's a lot of there's a couple of moments, isn't there? Like a sort of fake out, we've caught the killer moments.
And we get one now. So the police turn up and they'll be like, yep, we've got one. But we, the audience, are baffled because Jay Simmons has only been lifted by the police.
I knew exactly what they were going to say. Did you see this coming, Kat? Did you see? I was like, I bet he's going to think it's old JS himself.
Well, yeah, and I mean, obviously, this is America, and he is a person of color. So even if he was just randomly walking down the street, he's probably going to be fingered for being hot eyes because it's the path of least resistance for the police department.
We found you knocked out cold on the ground. Definitely killer. Oh wait, did the killer go and put the mask on him and the?
I can only assume,
yeah,
and gave
That's
him
sneaky,
like gave him the crossbow and a little note that said it's me.
yeah.
HEK.
Just put all of the HEK paraphernalia all around.
Put all those "Hello, my name is" stickers on it.
Yeah. Wow. Obviously, Jay claims he's innocent, but he's absolutely fuming, absolutely raging at Ali. I guess I mean, he's got every right to be. Let's admit that. Take her back to the police station, and this is where Shaw and Hobbs, and I think that's where they go. Wait, no, Hobbs and Shaw, and they go. I hadn't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Like from Fast and No.
No, I ain't seen it, mate. Not into those films. What in space? Bloody mad.
Is a wonderful type of joke, maybe second only to its use in The Other Guys with Michael Keaton consistently quoting TLC songs.
Yeah,
and they're like, "That's from TLC." I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't go chasing waffles. Wait a minute. Why have you said that?
Just creep.
I kind of like that. Obviously, when they're interrogating Jay and they're sort of saying, "Oh, we found this wedding ring with the initials JS," like at least he's saying what everyone else would be saying. It's like, "Hey, what? First of all, why would I get my own initials on my wedding ring? That doesn't make any sense."
Second of all, it's yours.
So it's yours. Who's this belong to then? Oh, it's me. And obviously he's claiming his innocence as he is, and Ali's gone there to try and also claim his innocence because she was there when they were getting attacked by HEK. I was a little bit worried at this point, thinking, "Oh, is there going to be more than one killer? And is he going to be involved? I don't want him to be. He's too nice."
He's won your heart already, then, Ben.
Oh yeah, because he, as you said, Kat, like he doesn't seem there's not like a sometimes you get a little vibe, don't you? And you go, "Oh, I ain't so sure about this person. They might potentially be." Even when he was like arguing with Ali, essentially, it was never done in a way that made me think he could probably be a murderer. I never thought that. But Shaw also points out that he was in the same cities at the same time as the killer's previous attacks. I mean, if I was being accused of that, I'd be like, shit, that doesn't seem good.
So I'm a freelancer, but that is quite,
Yeah,
that is a lot of convenience.
that's quite that's quite, yeah, exactly. Um, Ali's waiting in the lobby with the desk clerk who's doing a lovely crossword. Loved it. This was very hot fuzz, wasn't it? When she said, bitch. What? Female dog. Oh, yeah, you got me. And then she meets David, who's working on the
Oh,
computers.
an innocent IT man, just
IT man.
yeah, the IT man cometh and just says, "Oh, sort of these
Yeah.
cables out, you'll be well away. Do you fancy going on a date with me?" She goes, "No, I've just almost been murdered actually because I was mistakenly thought of being on
Yeah.
a date." And David, the IT man, says, "Fair enough. Off I go to disappear from this film forever. Don't bear me another thought."
Yeah.
The IT man.
I almost kind of, again, not spoil anything. Let's not spoil anything, but
Until later.
but
Yeah.
until later. But I almost liked the fact that when we do get a reveal, I would have liked it if it was literally just a nobody and this person was like, I've seen you on the dating apps. We've been chatting on the dating apps, and Ali just had no idea. Because I feel like that would have been a good sort of, the fact that we kind of seen somebody already was a little bit, I don't know. I feel like it would have hit harder if it was a complete stranger. The fact that it was just happened to be someone we'd seen early on, I don't necessarily know how it works. How do you get a job there? Oh, I suppose like Shaw's got connections. Go and work at the station. Again, I'm not spoiling it, but um, Heart Eyes turns up in the station, deactivates the power, kills the clerk with the American flag straight through the
Yeah.
abdomen, and then activates night vision,
Night vision mode.
which I thought was pretty good. Again, very Buffalo Bill. Ali looked a little bit. She looked pretty terrifying, running towards him with the flag again or something, whatever it was. Sent him flying. Um, then she goes and rescues Jay. Initially, Jay thinks he's been ditched again because she talks to him through when he's in the interrogation room. She talks to him through the what is it, that thing?
The
The
intercom.
That's it. Talks to him through the intercom, and then she thinks, "Oh, he's bloody left me. She's left me." Heart Eyes Killer comes in, ready to kill Jay, but then she fires willy nilly through the glass at him, like unloads the whole clip into that room. Does he get hit? Heart Eyes Killer potentially.
I think after the glass is blown out, the Heart Eyes killer escapes. But
Hmm.
poor Devon Sawa's unfortunately in shit got stabbed by the Heart Eyes
Oh yeah,
killer
Devon Sawa got killed.
right
Yeah,
in the crotch earlier on.
yeah. Was this kind of like? Doesn't someone say earlier in the film, "Oh, I hope you get stabbed in the dick"? Oh yeah, that's Ali's talking about the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a precursor to that as well. Totally unnecessary, I feel. I feel like if you just want to dispatch this police officer because he's in the way, do it. No need to do that. No need to do that.
Well, could we speculate on the Heart Eyes killer is in this bit?
Suppose we could, yeah. Do you know what? Now you've done it again. Me not thinking about the key, and now me not thinking about that. You're putting all the pieces together. Me, on the other hand, not getting it.
What's he even got a problem with
What's the bloody?
with Valentine's Day?
Come on. Um. So yeah, they escape after Hobbs is killed. She rescues Jay, and then they flee to a drive-in movie theater, where
To a
essentially
sexy drive-in movie. What are they? What?
it's like a Cary
Cat, you're
Grant
the
film, isn't
perfect.
it?
What are they watching? Do you know?
No idea. It's not horror, so I do not know. It
Like a
is.
Cary Grant movie, right?
Yeah, it's like an old romantic movie. I would presume.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, what they do is lead the Heart Eyes Killer to all of these poor, innocent um, couples who are
Yeah.
there having a lovely romantic drive-in
And the
movie.
Heart Killer looks across and right. If anyone here is having sex in a van, I'm gonna be
Yeah. I'm
raging.
gonna be raging. I don't know. Initially, I thought he just wasn't gonna bother hurting anybody else. I thought he was just gonna waltz through with his
So
eyes
right,
on.
let's not make a scene. There's a lot of people here.
Yeah. But he doesn't. Just. I mean, initially, I think he just stabs. Does he just stab a couple of people? Just
Just stab a guy that talks to him.
all right, mate. I kind of like the sound design in this because you do hear a lot of people sort of saying, "Is that him? That can't be him." Because people are walking around in the masks anyway. So, but I don't know. Is there something a little bit different about the way that this person's carrying themselves? Maybe.
Well, he killed the way he kills that guy is very reminiscent of the T-1000 in Terminator 2, with the guy who's like, well, it's like Tim, like John Connor's friend, who like comes running up to him and he's like, "Hey, I think I saw that kid you were talking," and then T-1000 like shoves him to one side. I feel like it's Josh's homage to that, because in the police station we also have some Terminator homages.
Okay.
When Hobbs is at the door and Jay Simmons is trapped to the table, there's a look back which is very similar to the Lance Hendrickson to Kyle Reese in Terminator. And obviously it's basically a killer killing off a police station. So I think that
Yeah.
there's maybe some homages to Terminator, or it's just Terminator is so intrinsic to me as a person that I just see it when
Yeah.
it's not there. But there was just something about that random guy kind of
Hmm.
coming out and going up to talk to him and just being dispatched that felt very much like T-1000 just shoving that kid out of the way.
Yeah. No, I
Just
guess
he's
it
like
does.
focused on getting them.
Sometimes it's like that with films, isn't it? Like if your favorite films have a scene set in a police station, you find it difficult to not automatically like make that connection or sort of see certain things and feel like things are homages. But yeah, no, I totally get it. I guess because at this point as well, like Heart Eyes Killer is like a unstoppable killer machine as well. Like there's nothing human about this person at this stage, at
He's
all.
got the mask on, all those extra abilities
Yeah, he's
when
got
you're
a
fully
mask.
masked
He's
up.
got a mask on. Um, so yeah,
A
so
young not couple hide in the van of some people who don't seem bothered at all
yeah,
that some of the people are
they're
in
not
their
bothered.
car.
They're almost like happy about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're in the
great.
back, they're smooching.
Well, they're smooching.
Right now, things do escalate.
Things do immediately escalate. Yeah. Um. So this again is another moment, I guess, for these two characters to bond in a way, even though they're hiding. They are kind of having these what are they chatting about at this point?
Parents,
That's
and
right.
the
Yeah.
relationships of their parents. But again, we're in Terminator territory because we are Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor hiding in the car park
Oh my
with
God.
Kyle Reese exposition dumping.
Oh my God. There we
So
go.
bloody hell, the future's horrible.
Bloody hell. So yeah, obviously, was it Jay's talking about his mum and dad having like a storybook? No. Ali's mum and dad had a storybook romance, and then her dad died, and her mum has never been the same. And what does Jay say? His mum and dad.
His parents always argued,
Yeah.
like always argued. And so he's deliberately he falls fast for everybody that he encounters
Yeah.
because he's trying desperately to prove his
That's
parents
right. Yeah.
wrong, as he has basically fallen for a woman that he's known for, what does he say, like 10 hours.
10 hours. Yeah. Yeah. Again, yeah, this is the thing. Like, there is even a moment a bit later on where someone says, if you love him, then kill yourself. But if you don't love him, it's like 14 bloody hours, 10 hours they've known each other. That's crazy. I'm bloody.
They are crazy, though, the people that put
They
that to
are,
them.
yeah, yeah. It, to make a
I
good
wouldn't say,
point,
well, you've made a
they are
sensible
crazy.
point there, a rational one.
A rational
Um,
point.
so yeah, maybe we would have got another kiss between them here, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, let's not. Their needs aren't as good. It is these other people's vans, so they're in their world. Um, their smooching has escalated to loud van sex.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
loud van sex. They're like, shut up.
Especially
Just
celebrating the fact that obviously you can go out and have loud van sex because, as far as the general public are concerned, the Heart Killer has been killed. So do PDAs as much as you want, actually.
oh yeah. Well, he's been captured at this point. Is
Yeah,
that what they think?
captured, not killed. Yeah,
Yeah, because
he's
they
been
do
captured.
say,
They've got him.
we got him. Oh, we got him.
Yeah,
Um,
they proper like Osama bin Laden like press conference it straight away. Oh, we've got him actually. I know
yeah.
technically speaking we have to interview this guy, but
Yeah.
as far as all of you are concerned, go out, do as you like.
We got him. Um, and yeah, the Heart Eyes Killer he's zoning in for sexy time noises. He's going, hang on a minute, I could hear something here. And yeah, he rips open the van door, interrupts I think probably the moment of climax, and stabs. Is it like a tire iron? Tire
Yeah, he
iron?
tire
Yeah.
irons them.
Yeah, tire irons them to death, and we get some.
First one, then the other. So how does he go like through the
Yep.
back
So he
of?
goes the guy lying down on his face, and then he pulls the
Yep,
woman's head down onto him like that, and then we get a good shot of the hole in her head as well. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, and again,
yeah.
some great effects work. Like we get a nice, good, long look at this head a little bit later,
Good
and
squelchy murders, the best kind.
yeah, good squelchy murders.
To be, you could be into any of the bodily fluids, and you would have got it from this scene. Something for everyone.
Which what bodily fluids are you into? I'm into them all, mate. Yeah, this scene's great, perfect for me. Um, yeah, so Ali and Jay get out and run away, but then I think they have a moment where they go, "Hang on a minute, we've led this killer here," and because he's proper taking everyone out at this point. Anyone screaming, anyone who's anyone, and then he's just like proper messing with this couple, these two women in a car, just like walking around, running a knife all over the. Leave them alone, for God's sake. Yeah, and our main characters decide that they led him here, so they better go and basically beat him, kill
Let's
him,
double team him to death.
because otherwise innocent people are going to die. Um, so yeah, they have a scuffle, have a fight, and dispatch him fairly easily. I think stab him straight through I guess the heart. And when they unmask him, it's none other than Man.
Man.
It's
Yeah.
none other than Man. Did anyone else do this? I was like, who is this guy?
Have I seen this
Have I
fella?
seen this man? It's an interesting take, isn't it? Because I feel like in most modern slasher movies, it's usually someone that like the characters know or the characters are close to, or maybe it's just like someone you would have never expected. But this one, it's just fella.
It is harking back to some classic horror, though, right? It's real, like,
Yeah.
a stranger calls territory, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
we have got the stranger. Do you know him? No.
I ain't got a
Some
clue who he
fella.
is, mate. No. When you see Michael Myers' face for like that little split second in Halloween. What? Give me that mask back. It
Yeah,
reminded me.
yeah, I've been debuffed. Quick, put this back on.
Yeah, give me that mask back. Don't. Um, yeah, so
Um,
yeah.
Kat, what was your take on this when you saw the unmasking? Were you expecting to see someone you knew?
I think so. He looks a little bit like the server who pours the champagne, but I don't think it is. But
Oh, okay.
if it was, it would explain how keys could be have been procured,
Oh,
except
that's
for they've
clever.
already left. They've already
Yeah.
left the restaurant before they get made. But
Okay.
it would kind of make sense if the other couple were the targets and they were coming to that restaurant. It would make sense if
Mm.
it was him, but I don't think it is because I did try and keep my eye out on a rewatch. But I think it's although you see him, you don't see him for long enough. But I can't because it's like although Jay and Ali have encountered him, they probably won't remember. He was just the guy that bought some champagne while they're in the middle of arguing
Yeah.
with each other. So that it's not necessarily going to be like, oh my God, it was that man from the wine. Um, so I don't think it is, but he looks enough
Mm.
like him that in my head, I'm quite happy just to go
Okay.
with that. That's who it
That's
is.
cool.
Um,
Like I'm not even gonna check, Kat. I'm taking that. That's happening. That's what it is in my head.
I do
yeah,
like the
I mean, we
idea
have
of.
also because
Sorry, go on.
we
Go.
have we've glossed over director cameo
Oh God, yeah.
as Heart Eyes is going on that rampage. Josh Ruben steps out of the car and says that classic horror line of somebody call 911. You know, there's always that person when the body is definitely trillion% dead that goes, no, let's call the ambulance.
Get the
And
ambulance call.
that is
You
that is
got it. You
Josh's
got it,
job
really.
in here.
Yeah.
Good. It's nice to see him. Nice to see him. You know, both sides of the camera in this one.
Yeah. Um, I kind of like. I know this isn't like the main reveal, but I do like the idea of it being somebody who has like interacted with Ali on a dating app, and I guess that shines a light on the throwaway nature of dating apps. Even someone that you maybe made a bit of a connection with, you can pretty much just forget them immediately. Which yeah, I kind of like that as a sort of idea for who the killer could potentially be. And I guess it subverts it a bit, especially with the killer probably thinking they're gonna know exactly who I am. They're gonna remember me. You wait until the reveal, and then they go, "Sorry, who are you again?" I kind of like that.
Speaking of disposable, like I've now realised I've been racking my brains the last few minutes thinking like I've seen a film about this where there's maybe a killer on a dating app, and it is last year's Fuck, Marry, Kill, which I'd seen and
Oh,
entirely erased from my
oh
memory. But
no!
if that is a thing that you want, that's
You've
available.
erased it from your brain, as some
Think it's
people
on
do.
Prime.
Fuck, marry, kill. So it's not. What was that? What was that show
It
on
is.
BBC Three called?
That's called Snog, Marry, Avoid because the
Yeah.
BBC will not have you
Yes.
planning on
Snog,
meeting
marry, avoid.
meeting three people in the street and say, right, which one of these would you kill?
Well, I'll kill
Give
them
it
all. I'll kill them all, mate.
that. I mean, maybe that's an ITV3 show, but not.
Snog, marry, avoid. What was that like makeover show on BBC Three as well? That was it. Was that it?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
they
because
make them over.
they'd get somebody and they'd show their picture to the general public and they'd be like,
Yeah,
oh no,
that's
don't like
right.
them, don't like them. And then they would go into like the pod machine or whatever. It
Yeah,
was some
Yeah.
like acronym for basically like giving them a makeover. And then they'd basically strip all of their personality from
Yeah.
them. And then people would be like, oh no, yeah, yeah, no, I'd marry them. I'd marry them. Yeah,
I'll marry
definitely.
them. I prefer
And that was supposed to then, make them go, oh, okay, change all of my
change my
ways so
life.
that some random person on the street.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you had pink hair and piercings in your face. I say avoid. And then the next time she was all in beige. And I thought,
Yeah.
poor, yeah. That's my type.
yeah.
They always had like the most extreme looking people, so they find someone like the worst fake tan you've ever seen. And I feel like they've dialed that up for the show. There's no way someone's kicking about with
They've
that tan.
polarized that in the.
Yeah, they've done. Come on, they've
So
changed that. They've upped
I'm
the
not.
saturation.
So I appreciate what you do in Matt Edmondson devised BBC Three program, but um, I'm not sure I really care about attracting people you've managed to find cutting about the street in the middle of the working day, willing to talk to you.
The pod had like some sort of like weird personality as well, didn't it? It was
Yeah,
like it was like spoke. It was
it gave
like
you some free sarcasm
it was like
with
Hal
your
from
makeover.
2001.
Well, we get the mystery man has been defeated, the killer has been dispatched relatively easily, or is it so? Because those keeping an eye on the time will realize there's almost
Yeah,
half an hour left.
yeah. I was thinking that. I feel have a lot of films done this recently, especially slasher films. They kind of feel like they give you this kind of like false like ending. They kind of wrap things up, and you go, "Hang on a minute,
It's almost
there's a
traditional, right? Though,
third
isn't it? It's
act."
very like like the Halloween films have done a few where they've done like an ending. There's we
Mm.
get a fake out ending for a lot of Friday the 13th movies. Again, we're leaning into two sets of genre tropes here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and there's like a really weird kind of like dejected moment where Ali kind of just gets left alone, which is like, I don't know, I kind of felt like, oh, bloody hell. Because it would kind of be like that if you go for all this and eventually just go home and sit down and go, bloody hell, that was a long day.
Yeah.
Um,
US healthcare system at its finest. The ambulance driver's there. I've got someone else to see. Whips the blanket
give
off
me those
her.
blankets back. Give it to
Yeah.
back. Oh, they got blood. My blood's all over them. No, no, no. See you later.
That's right. I'd give it to someone who only pays for bronze level insurance. Off you pop.
So also we haven't mentioned that Ali sort of says that she went to medical school, but then she couldn't stand blood, and she's done been a few blood splatters. She threw up all over the killer.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
good.
Chundered
Because
all
you
over
probably
his.
would,
Yeah,
having done your first murder of a man. I know it
well,
was a bad man.
yeah. Loads of sick as well. Just like never ending. That was like sick from. That's a big night out. That is. That's
Hang
like
on a second. They
six
didn't
pints
eat
of
at the
it.
restaurant. She hasn't eaten since
It
lunchtime.
was very liquid. This unless it was just champagne. That half a glass of champagne, just gone crazy.
We don't
Um,
necessarily follow people the entire time. It's not like
no, it's true.
24, so she could have, when she was waiting at the police waiting room, could have gone absolutely ham on the snack machine.
She got a
Yeah,
couple
she's
of
got nothing else to do. The clerk isn't helping her. She's just there, yeah, just chugging.
8 bags of Doritos, please.
McCoy's, Ribena, and a twirl. That's what she's got out there. um, so yeah, she gets left alone. Jay just basically says, "I'm going back to the hotel. All the
Policewoman says,
best."
"Oh, I'll give you a lift back to the." So
Yeah,
actually,
because
my
the
flight's pretty
policewoman at
soon.
this
She goes,
point,
"I'll give you a
she's
lift back to the airport."
she's already had a one-to-one with him, where she was like, "Going, you're single, are you?" Oh yeah, yeah. And I think she's got her eye on him a little bit. Ali's even a little bit worried, I think. But Jay says, "Don't worry, she's not my type. But she'll give me a lift back to me gaff." Um, yeah. Ali goes home, watches the film that was on the at the
She
drive-through,
you
I
watches
guess.
Cary Grant. Says, "Oh, I've seen the
Yeah,
start of this now. I need to see what happens
I
at
need
the
to see
end."
the end again. Like the time, I'm proper confused by the timeline. You know, when you're just like, this has been the longest day ever. Like 8
It's like
p.m.
countdown time, isn't it? Though, like, so you've got as long as as long as it takes for you to defuse the bomb. That's how long 10 seconds is.
I mean, since I've had a long day at work and I put a film on, and I'm asleep within 10 minutes, let alone had a horrible day of running around being someone trying to kill me, I would have put the film on. I would have been conked out within 30 seconds, I reckon. But she's awake. It's because she's thinking about Jay, isn't she?
Absolutely pumped up on adrenaline, though. You know it is. Like
Oh yeah,
sometimes,
good
Ben,
point.
you just
Good
played
point.
a lovely video game. You've beaten that last boss. You stayed up a little bit too late. 'Cause, oh, bloody hell, I've stayed up and completed this game, but it is 2 in the morning now. Best go straight to sleep.
You can't. You're
You're
replaying it.
lying there,
You're replaying
eyes
it in your head.
open.
You're replaying it in your head. You're going, oh yeah, oh, that nearly happened. That was a good bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible. So she phones her mate. Um, I think a lesser film would have killed off the best friend character, but she's
Yeah.
fine.
I did keep thinking that, even to the point when she turned up right at the end. I was like, be careful now.
You've
Don't let her
almost made
die.
it.
You've almost made it. Be
Um,
careful. Don't be behind
she
a camera just like someone else has already been killed by. Um,
she phones her up, and she says, "You need to go and get what you want. Like you've got the opportunity here to grab love. This is like they've got the endings of both genres here. So you've got the fake out ending of a slasher and the you've almost let the love of your life slip by you. You've got to race to the airport and get them." And she goes, "I bloody will." Hangs up, dashes straight to the airport to catch Jay before he gets his flight, but it only arrives in time to receive a Scream style fake voice phone call that says, "Here, listen,
do you know,
come to the abandoned church right near the airport."
do you know what I do? If I go to the airport looking for someone, I immediately get out of the car and start calling their name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because airports are big places, but they'll hear me. They're definitely just right there, just ready to walk in.
I
She
mean, she's one
mistakes
after
someone.
another. She goes and shouts, yeah, mistakes someone for him, and also she answers a phone from an unknown number.
Yeah, mistakes all over the place.
Yeah.
Come to,
And
what
it's
is
like
it?
the middle of the night. It's in the middle of the night she's taking that call from an unknown number as well. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't do that in the day, let alone at what must be what 2, 3 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
The very fact my phone isn't set to like do not disturb mode and even rings through.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
my phone at
Same.
that point and be like, Is your bedtime now? Go to bed."
Yeah, the heart eyes killer's going to be on the other one. Just nobody answer.
Why is everyone's phone on silent? Um, yeah, so it's the St. Valentine's Chapel, isn't it? Something like that?
It
Or
is
pretty
St.
much.
Valentine's Chapel. I
Um,
don't know the real story of St. Valentine's, but what I've learned from this film was he had his head chopped off.
had his head off, yeah, for some reason. Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with it
Or he's
either.
shooting arrows about the place.
Um,
Sick of it.
Heart Eyes, yeah, so she goes to the chapel, um, and Heart Eyes arrives. Jay is tied up, and Heart Eyes unmasks. And this, I guess, this is the real reveal. Like the reveal before was kind of just like just any old fella, and this was at least a fella that we've seen previously in the film,
Yep.
even for a second.
I mean, you might have forgotten him, everyone who's listened to this, because it was not flagged at all that this guy might come back into it, but it is innocent IT man.
Innocent
What's his name?
IT man
Adam?
who's sick of telling people to turn it off and on again, and he's and he's gone right. That's it. I'm gonna kill people who ask me for any IT related help in anything. Oh, my Outlook's bloody logged out. Right, dead.
Yeah.
Immediately dead. It's David
David.
reveals. So there's the previous Heart Eyes killer was a copycat and a fanboy named Eli, but there is another killer, and it's Shaw, the cop, who reveals herself as the other Heart Eyes, not copycat, but David's wife. That's it, David's wife. Um, Both she and David have been committing every murder as Heart Eyes, switching out a costume. And they kind of like reveal who did what. So Shaw attacked him at the apartment. David killed the cab driver and the couple at the winery. That's when he lost his ring, which had JS on it. Um, which said it had JLS on it. He loves
JLS on
JLS.
it.
This guy, he's like, oh
Who's
bloody
his favourite? JB. Must be
JB,
JB. He's a
JB.
sweetheart.
Merry Christmas. Who's the one who says Merry Christmas?
That's JB, and that's
JB.
exactly why he's my favourite.
Or the one who's the one who does the flip? As
Aston,
Aston.
maybe.
Aston does the flip. Marvin, he's done all right. He's presented some
Marvin
quiz
Hughes.
shows
He
these
presents
days. Yeah, he does.
that music-based quiz show with his
Oh,
wife.
it's a good show though, and it's a good show. He loves JLS. He lost his JLS promise ring, left it there. But essentially, what's weird is that earlier in the film, the police officer said like, well, the two police officers and the other guy were kind of talking. They said, "Oh, it's a fetish thing. It's a fetish. Someone's out there enjoying
Literally,
ki-"
it's isn't it?
And it pretty much is that.
Isn't it
It's kind of
Shaw that
like
says it?
they say a throuple
Yeah,
at
because
one point. Yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, would she sure they're talking about it and they're saying he and she it could be a she. And then yeah, she mentions a fetish thing. And yeah, it's almost a little bit,
Yeah.
twirling the mustache, isn't it? She's kind of making it quite obvious that maybe
Yeah.
it might be her.
She's like, yeah, I think the murderer is probably sexy and cool.
I thought when they sort of said throuple, I thought it was going to be like a non-monogamy thing where like they were all like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of interesting, and they kind of like threw cold water on it immediately by saying, "Oh no, Eli's just a fanboy." I don't know. I kind of liked that. Like maybe it was a couple who'd like groomed the wrong word, but you think you know what I mean? Who've like
They've,
groomed
they've,
somebody
they've
to be
sucked
like
this
a
guy
killer.
into they've
Yeah,
brought
yeah,
him
yeah.
into their world.
I feel again, it's another one of those things where I feel like all the pieces are there, but it wasn't entirely what I was expecting. But you know,
Yeah.
that's
I
absolutely
mean,
fine.
polyamory, a lot of admin, Ben, and maybe they didn't have time to cover it in these last few minutes.
Bloody loads of admin, isn't it? Yeah, bloody hell. Um,
Imagine syncing that many calendars. Bloody hell, everybody.
oh my God, we forgot our anniversary. Imagine there was three of us. Um, terrifying. Uh, so yeah, they give Ali a choice. They're basically like, so
Prove that love is real.
prove that love is real, even though you've known this person for 14 hours.
Here's a
Kill
gun.
if you love him. Kill yourself. If you don't love him, kill him. Well, that's the options. I'd be like, terrible options.
But I'm going to give you this gun. Don't, like, before I give it to you,
Yeah.
no thinking of a third option, all right?
No, don't think of a third option. Don't
This
aim
is
that gun
Batman
at.
Forever rules. You've got to save Nicole Kidman or Chris O'Donnell, not both.
And also, shoot this man. I'm going to stand directly behind him. All right. All you got to do, all you got to do is aim the gun slightly in a different way, and you'll get me as well. But don't do that. But what does she do? What does she do? She does.
She does exactly what they've explicitly told her not to do. She does a bit of a fake out and
That's
goes,
rude, isn't it?
"Sorry, Jay Simmons, but maybe you really are right." And then she adjusts a little bit from the terrible shooting she's done earlier. She does shoot him through the shoulder, but shoots Shaw right in the stomach.
She'll right in the stomach. Yeah. And then basically
All hell breaks loose, and they
all
basically have
hell
a big
breaks loose.
rumble.
Yeah. We've got Jay versus David having a fight. Shoots him in the eye with his arrow, but it's like if eye through the bridge of the nose, like
Yeah,
just horrific, just horrible.
and
He falls down and loads of candle wax falls on him. Oh, like it kinky, do you? Have all this candle wax all over your body. Oh,
if you get wax on you, it hurts incredibly, but just for a little bit, and then it cools
just for a
off.
tiny split second. You like that, do you? No, I hate it. And
And
then
then you've got
Ali
an
and
armor
Shaw's
afterwards.
Ali and Shaw's fight is bloody brutal. If the arrow through the eye and through the nose didn't make you go, oh, then a metal straw through the neck or like chin will do it.
Yeah, metal
Horrific.
straw through the chin, and then if that wasn't enough, this church, this chapel, has somehow in the modern era been allowed a statue with a sword at like heart height, so incredibly sharp
Yeah. And
that
she
you can
pushes.
basically cut someone's head off with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good
And you
though,
get
isn't it?
the sinewy neck snapping as she's like the weight of her body like pulls with the sword. Again, this film doesn't hold back in the least.
No. Decapitates her, and then, yeah. And then that's it. They
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 have a lovely
win.
kiss.
They have a lovely
Do we get
kiss.
do we get like an ending little cute bit at the end where they're together as a couple?
Yeah, it is. It's like a
Yeah,
year
well,
later,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. It's a year
And they're
later.
back at the they're back at the drive-in theater, and then he goes to ask her to move in with him, but
You can't
she does a
put a
fake out thing of being like, I didn't like that. And then she's like, I loved it, and then proposes to him because
she
because
does a
they've been together
Simon
for a
Cowell.
year. I still feel, yeah, yeah, pretty much. She's like,
Also,
no,
you can't.
I don't want to move in with you. I want you, which is a little bit weird. And
What,
then
so you
yeah,
don't want
they've
to move
now
it?
kind of become they become that couple from the beginning because
Yeah.
then there's the mid-credits bit where we find out that her bestie has been recording it.
Yeah. But also, you can't ask someone to move in with you with like an engagement ring box. That's not fair. That's too confusing going on. And also, no, I don't want to move in with you. I want you. So are we moving
I've
in
got an
together?
engagement ring.
Are we
I mean,
moving
there's
in
so many
together or
ways you
not?
could tell it. I've got this engagement box ring, and it is a spare head for my electric toothbrush because I'd like you to stay over slightly more often.
Yeah, and it just goes on forever. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then there's a mid-credit scene, which you obviously mentioned, which
Which is
is
a recording, right?
Ali receiving a mysterious phone call, but it's just her friend Monica pretending to be Heart Eyes, and she photographed the proposal. Ah, I was worried in this moment. I was like, "Don't you dare even think about killing her," because I
Maybe
quite like that
Monica's going to be
character.
Heart Eyes too.
Yeah, Heart Eyes too. There we go. That was the end then. There we go. Andy, did you say you had some level of game
Yeah,
quiz
I've got a
scenario?
special game for you today. I thought instead of the name game, and because we have two horror experts with us for the day, I thought I would give you some lovely horror-related limericks, given the romantic poetry type season that we're in. All I
Lovely.
would like from you is the last line of this limerick, which obviously you have clues to with the lines that will precede it.
Okay. Do we get one
So,
each, or do we just get?
well, well, we can see who
Fastest
can
finger first.
answer. See who can answer first. But we'll
Okay.
obviously. I'm not going to waste this gold. But if I was doing one not written by me and about another film, Kindergarten Cop, you would say, "Roses are red, violets are blue. Who is your daddy?
What does he do?
And what does he do?" Exactly.
I wish that was the answer.
um, in this one, here's your first one. Got my book here. Um, Roses are red, apples are green. Well, Granny Smith apples are green. Um, if you're eating a man's liver, have a side of.
Is anyone answering?
Whoever wants to go first, whoever's got it.
Have a
Shall I read
side
it
of
again?
fava beans.
Fava beans, very good.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I had spleen in my head, and I was like, no, that doesn't
Side
work.
of spleen.
Have a side of spleen. He loves it. I reckon he just has chips or everything. Old Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Smiley faces.
Chips. Did he have half and half, half chips, half rice?
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Roses are red, and I bet your parents are swell. But according to Major Howdy,
I bet your parents are swell, but according to Major Howdy, swell. God, Major Howdy, as in from The Shining. No,
no.
Exorcist.
Yes. What does he
Yes,
say
that's right.
about your parents?
What does he say
Slagging them
about your
off.
parents?
Not both of
Who's
them,
the
just
cocks
one.
in hell?
Exactly.
Your mother
Oh
said cocks
God,
in
yeah.
hell, yeah.
So roses are red. I bet your parents are swell, but according to Major Howdy, your mom sucks cocks in hell. That's your second one.
Why did I go for The Shining? I was thinking of the Red Rum.
The red rum. Um, okay. Another one for you here. Roses are red. Red and green jumpers often itch. And as Fred said to Jennifer,
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
welcome to primetime, bitch. Very good.
I was ready for a get away from her, you bitch, for some reason.
No. And one more to finish proceedings. Ahem. If you're trekking through the forest, whether you identify as straight, bi, or gay, if you need space from nasty primates, just shout.
Space from nasty primates.
If you need space from nasty primates, you just shout.
Jesus. I don't know. I'm gonna need a clue, I think.
You don't shout Jesus. So it's this is inspired by sci-fi action family adventure horror film, Ben.
Sci-fi action family adventure horror film.
That's right. Based
Congo.
on a work by Michael Crichton. Yeah.
Right. Give it to me again.
Oh,
So if you're trekking through the forest, whether you identify as straight, bi, or gay, when you need some space from bad primates, just shout,
Ugly gorillas go away.
ugly gorillas go away. Very good.
Ugly gorillas go away.
Amy, mother. Um,
We like the film Congo on this show, Cat. I think that's
I got it. I got Congo, but I couldn't remember
I
what
think
the
that's
line
what
was.
we did do an episode on Congo as well, which is
you as a
How did
normal
you
person,
how did you
Cat
describe it?
probably spend less time thinking of Congo.
How did you describe it,
But
Andy?
you say that, but I once was able to interview Bruce Campbell at a convention and I spoke to him about Congo.
Oh my God.
I think he was very perturbed about because everyone else talked to him about Evil Dead, and I was like, "That's in
Right,
Congo."
Congo. What did you say?
Well, I think it's asking because it's obviously he is like he's in the open, isn't he? When he like finds a
Yeah,
body part and like, throws it away or whatever. And he said it's one of the easiest paychecks he's ever had because he was like filming for a day, but they let him
lovely.
hang out for the rest of the couple of months of shooting. So yeah, he loved
Wow.
it.
Oh my
Oh,
God. I
Congo.
I used to have like a hardback copy of Jurassic Park, and I had and it was like Congo was like in the back, as if it was just like a little add-on. It was like Jurassic Park, and then about halfway through, it was like, and it was Congo as well. It was great.
Those bad gorillas and poor Mr. Homolka not being allowed to finish that slice of sesame cake. Just got to rate the movie
Is
then,
that it?
everybody.
Rate the
That
movie.
is.
Okay, right. So we got rate the movie A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Rate good or rate bad. We'll let you go first, Kat. How would you rate Heart Eyes?
I think for me, it's probably a B plus. I think it does mix the two genres quite nicely. There's a lot of I'm always a fan of films that have those little Easter eggs, like I mentioned the montage. There's also Monica's speech is name dropping about 20,000 rom-coms. You're clueless. It's one of the 10 things I hate about you. He's going to go to his best friend's wedding and move to Notting Hill. I just quite enjoyed it as another one was added. It just made it a
Yeah.
bit funnier. And so yeah, and it's solid kills, some gnarly kills. It's nice to see, Jordana and Devon back
Hmm.
in cinema, especially Jordana, when she's not being horribly underutilized in the Fast franchise. And it's a lot of fun, and it's one of those films that you can see yourself revisiting, you know,
Hmm.
to coincide with Valentine's. It's far superior to Valentine, which is the current film that you can watch
Yeah.
on Valentine's. Denise Richards, we were talking at the beginning about people not liking people. I did not like Denise Richards for years because in her death in Valentine, she basically comes out and says, "Here, killer, 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 killer." Because she's like, "Oh, does someone want to be my Valentine?" And then is surprised when the person that's been murdering all of her friends then turns up to murder her.
Yeah. In the hot tub? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody hell,
I went
Denise
off her for years
Richards.
for cheating on poor Johnny Rico.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, but it's like she never deserved Johnny. Like Johnny and
Yeah.
Diz
He
were
should have been with Dizzy
endgame.
all the
And
time anyway.
yeah,
He didn't
exactly.
know. In many ways, I mean, Johnny Rico's dad was wrong about a lot of things, living under where an asteroid was going to be thrown, but he wasn't wrong about how much Carmen valued his son. He knew.
What was her name in the Bond film? Christmas Jones.
Christmas, like yeah, Christmas
It was like
Jones.
Christmas Jones, wasn't it? Oh dear.
Sorry, because
Um,
I've conjured Starship Troopers, I need to say now to film fans. One of my friends, good old Tom, pointed out that the man that Carmen goes off with, that she joins the Starfleet Academy with, the other pilot. Doesn't he look like from Tom and Jerry cartoons? Tom's rival, that black cat, is exactly like him if he was a
Tom's
human.
rival.
See, I've always seen Patrick Muldoon as like a cheaper, low rent Bill Paxton.
Okay.
And he's given a lot of Bill Paxton as Xander in Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see it
unfortunately, he
now. I
does.
can see it.
He's,
Yeah.
he does get his comeuppance, gets his brain slapped out for being a bad bloke.
uh, are you gonna rate Heart Eyes, Andy?
I'm gonna give Hot Eyes a B. I thought Hot Eyes was very fun, like Kat said, like good kills, funny, well scripted, well written, and also hearing you talk about it as well. There's obviously so many bits that someone not dialed in to um, sort of the genre that it draws a lot of influence from. There's references I've absolutely missed. So already I'm looking forward to when it gets a home video release, which in today's modern era, pretty
Tomorrow.
quick, being able to watch it again.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go for a B as well. I feel like I did really enjoy it. It was fun. I like the mashup of genres. That was good. I don't know. One thing I think I've definitely mentioned this before, especially off the back of something like Founders Day from Fright Fest last year. I feel like with a lot of slasher movies, modern slasher movies, especially like Scream 5, Scream 6, as soon as that reveal happens, I'm kind of lost. And I feel like I was that kind of happened here a little bit. Luckily, there wasn't much of the film left after the reveal, so it's sort of not like that. But what I'm saying about Founders Day is that like that was a film that made me go when the reveal started happening. It gave me a whole new sort of respect for the film and how it came together and all the moving parts of the film as well. With this one, I'm kind of like the only reason it kind of doesn't get higher rating for me is just that. I don't know. I feel like there would have been like cooler, more interesting ways to do it. Whether it was like an actual thruple, I think that would have been cool. That would have been interesting. Um, or I did like the kind of I was on this dating app. Who are you? Don't remember you. Yeah, I like that because from a totally different point of view, that killer is the main character, and they're angry at someone for not interacting with them on a dating app. So that's interesting. But yeah, just a B for me, I think.
It's all right. B's a lovely grade.
Yeah, B's are lovely. I liked it. I did enjoy it. It was fun. Um, okay, there we go then. That is the end of the episode. Thanks so much for joining us, Kat. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where can our listeners keep up to speed with everything you're working on, podcasts and various other things, and your reviews, etc.?
So I'm on Blue Sky at cathughes.bsky.social and Instagram on Letterboxd at Gizmo Shikari. They're probably the best places. There's link trees to various bits and pieces on there, and I'm always shilling some podcast or another because apparently I have a whole podcast family now. I've got Andy as my podcast husband, Naomi as my podcast wife, and my actual real life daughter as my podcast child. So
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
my God, of course.
always shilling.
Amazing. I will
Keep them
put
coming.
links in the show notes to all of the shows we discussed today, as well as your socials as well. There we go. So thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to all of our patrons over there. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast and Rusty Quill for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. Head over to Facebook, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're on all of those platforms, Horror Hangout Podcast or horrorhangout.co.uk, and you'll find everything in one place. Next week, we're talking about a film that we already mentioned at the top of the show, The Monkey, Osgood Perkins' new film. And Terrell Graham's joining us for that, another returning guest. So looking forward to it. But thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Having a
Yeah,
lovely.
thanks for joining us, Kat. It's lovely to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll
Lovely
see you. Well, I will see you in Glasgow.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God, looking forward to that. We'll be doing obviously a Fright Fest Glasgow special next month, as we do every year. So looking forward to that, discussing all these films at great length. Yeah. Take care, everybody, and see you very soon.
Bye for now, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.